as we see the crew coming down here in the ring and to get in the tag team.
I didn't know that song debuted in TNA. I'll tell you that. I found that out today. Oh, interesting.
That's trivia. I didn't expect that or know that myself.
February 11th, 2006.
Ooh.
R-Truth debuts it. Ooh, someone's breathing into their mic. R-Truth debuts their now I guess historic theme song. Right? What's up?
That actually swerves me.
Since it's his theme, he's able to bring it with him on over to WWE, which goes on to become a legendary theme. This is really cool. What the fuck is up, everybody?
Hey, if that was on the 11th, what's on the 10th?
Nobody knows. No,
hey,
oh, good old Neek was born, and the world was blessed with his sunshine. I was gonna say sunny personality, but I said sunshine. So this beautiful man now exists thanks to the date February 10th.
Nice.
What the fuck is up, everybody? It's John Escudero, and in case you didn't notice, this is Dirt Sheet Radio, a podcast about professional wrestling. We wrestle here. We wrestle our own demons.
We wrestle our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. I am here for you both.
Hurrah! Another year. Surely this one will be better than the last. The inexorable march toward freedom will lead us all to happiness.
Some of us. Anyway.
Celebrating when all my problems began.
It's been a long week, man. It has been a long week. Last week when I did this show, I was minutes away from having to go get on a plane and fly down to Tampa for Royal Rumble weekend. This is rough. This week, I am coming off of Royal Rumble weekend and recovering because I'm an old man. And it's not the same. Ooh. Also rough. But we're here, baby. We are here. I'm alive.
John pointed at the sign.
It was quite a quick. It was a fun trip. I was out there with my boys. I was out there with my boys, George and Jarvis and Reggie and Jesse, and we were out there in Tampa, down there for the Royal Rumble. I did get to point at the sign. That was a thing I got to do. It was my first Royal Rumble. I'd never been to a Royal Rumble. I'd been to many different events. So I've got 3 out of the big 4 down. I got to make my way to Survivor Series and make that shit happen. If you've never been to a Royal Rumble, it's one of those events where you're going to find yourself having fun no matter what. Like, even if it's a bad show, because you're still, like, especially now there's 2 Royal Rumble matches. So you're going to get up literally 30 times to just out of anticipation, just counting down and hoping, and who is it? And it's not who I wanted it to be. And the time goes so fast. Sometimes it absolutely isn't 2 minutes. You just know, like, there's no fucking 2 minutes.
So, so for you, who I'm assuming had very little advance on it and none of the TV stuff going on. How interesting was that Jordan Grace sign?
I didn't recognize the theme music immediately. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh shit, who is this?
Which by the way, I would have thought like I half expected, because I half expect you don't not to know who half these women's theme music are.
I was gonna say, like, to be fair, so many of them have like the most out of nowhere music.
People were complaining about the reactions at the way they were coming across on TV, but part of the issue was that you didn't know none of these theme songs were recognizable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck any of these songs were until their name flashes across the screen and you're like, oh, okay, now that's who it is. The Jordan Grace moment.
Off the top of my head, go ahead, yeah.
No, I was gonna say the Jordan Grace moment did get a decent reaction. Like, it was loud in my section. I thought it was loud. For me, I thought it was cool. I thought it was very cool. Especially because
I want to know how big you popped when you saw Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought more than just it being like a TNA wrestler showed up, I thought it was cool because she had like a history with Trinity, who was already in the match. So it kind of comes off like she chased Trinity over here. Like, I'm not done with you. I crossed the whole promotional border and showed up in a Royal Rumble so we could keep
You and
this
that
shit
big ass
going.
is gonna get away from me that easily.
That's a really cool
I'm not
moment.
finished
Really
with you.
cool,
Which is kind of weird since like Jordan beat her and it's like I'm still not finished with you, bitch.
You saved
I
me.
came here to take your husband.
they took it really seriously and they faced her off with people and they made her seem like a big deal. Like she faced off with Ivy Nile, and I didn't even think of that. I was like, look at these two strong women. Like that's a cool little match. I never even thought of that. I'd love to see that.
Funny thing about that. No, yeah, it was really cool. Like she was in there and booked for spots like she was coming back. I was like,
Right? She got the Bianca face off. Bianca put it down with the finisher. On the apron. She took a whole leave out.
Ugly.
I thought it was cool. No, but the thing I thought the biggest thing about the Royal Rumbles are like, even if it feels like at home there was like a lot of filler. When you're there, there is no time. There's no time to feel it. I thought. Also, there was people just kept saying that the crowd sucked, but we were so fucking loud in that building. I didn't even get it. I think maybe it was mic bad or what the fuck.
Yeah, maybe it's acoustics or the miking.
Which is crazy because usually for those bigger shows, WWE's on it.
I don't know what happened there. But we had fun. The overall show was pretty good. I did get towards the end of the women's Royal Rumble. I looked down with my boys and we were like, they're setting up the camera to pan the audience for a reaction. Like the next entry is about to be a big one. So I did get to set up the camera and catch
3, 2, 1. Yeah! Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Ah!
I didn't get to catch Jay Cargill coming out. That was a fun experience, and only one that's helped along by advanced wrestling knowledge.
Yeah.
I said John was like the dude that's on the fucking sidelines just going like, they're setting up an I formation. I know this play. Something's coming. The blitz is coming.
So some people were you guys underwhelmed by the show at home?
No, I thought the show was fine for the bit of it I got to see. I got to see all of the women's Royal Rumble and like half of the men's Royal Rumble. When you talk about not having time to feel the downtime, I'm immediately reminded of the fact that Cody's entrance went so long that by the time he got into the ring, the next motherfucker was coming out.
Oh, that's right. I actually forgot about that. He had.
I was like, they're already counting down again. I was like, wait, what?
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
He did the whole thing. And then when it was finally over, they're like, 10. No, I was like, wait, how did we get here so fast?
He went full Undertaker on that entry.
Yeah, he did. The women's Royal Rumble was good. I think maybe a quarter of the way in, I decided like the pick I didn't believe, but I had my heart set on was gonna win, so I went full Bayley.
I thought I called Bayley. I did call Bayley last week because I thought to myself it made the most sense, and it's the one I wanted to see the most. Yeah. I thought out of all. I thought the
easiest choice was Becky, but like I thought the Bayley win made more sense.
Plus the Bayley win too, going in the Flair spot of number 3.
Yeah,
it makes a better story to do Bayley and Io than from the Rumble on, because the Becky Rhea thing is just. I mean, all she has to do is walk up to her and look at her, and they'll be like, "Okay, it's WrestleMania," and people will believe it. Like, there's no need to set any.
And even then, we can still do the chamber if we want.
Yeah, you still have the chamber in the way, which they seem to be setting up Nia Jax against Rhea Ripley, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" I understand the logic. It's Rhea's hometown,
and Rhea's got to beat somebody.
She's got to beat somebody, and they want her to beat a heel.
Well, home country. I don't think it's her hometown.
Fuck that. her hometown. No,
The whole country's the hometown.
they're never gonna run her fucking town again.
She's from Adelaide, goddammit. The great
No, it's
city of
different.
Adelaide.
It's different when it's international. Okay.
Oh,
The rules don't apply anymore.
No, that's the hometown.
the old
now.
rule of everyone Japanese is
Yeah.
from Tokyo.
You're all from Kyoto or Tokyo.
Oh, that's okay. Everyone from Illinois is from Chicago.
I love it. That's right. No, you're all from Chicago. I thought you were from Chicago. I thought you're all from Chicago.
Technically speaking, I'm metropolitan Chicago.
I see. How do you walk around with no holes?
Man, I've been shot like 50 times already.
Oh my
And that was just today.
The men's rumble is won by Cody Rhodes. The
It
women's
was
rumble,
very much the downer compared to the women's rumble.
the women's rumble is won by
By the way,
Bayley.
I'm also learning, by the way, Nick, for fun's sake, that Chicago and New York and LA have something deeply in common.
Pizza.
We all fucking hate Boston.
We all shake hands.
That's I got a whole. If you're not watching the video, there's a whole other graph. It was already prompted and everything.
was,
He shifted off. I'm not taking this fucking graphic down either. We are going to.
No, let's get it.
Can we revisit the
get it.
pizza thing? I'm
This
hungry.
is the pot of chaos. Let's go.
The Cody wins the men's rumble. Bayley wins the women's rumble.
Cody
Pretty much exactly how I thought it would go. Exactly how it should go. The end of the men's. The end of the men's rumble, when I didn't know Punk was injured, I was like, "Oh, this is fucked up. They're all tired and shit. This is not going the way I think they thought it was supposed to go."
I feel the fun slowing down. Oh my gosh. Because like at this point in the night, like bear in mind, the first time I'm watching this, I'm with the boys. So people getting fun, lit, crazy, however you want to say it. And my buddy Mike is just like, see, look, this is Punk. He's all gassed. Look at him.
I'm gonna throw a clip up. I have a clip. You can talk over it. I'm gonna mute. It didn't work out the way I thought it would.
It did not. It absolutely did not.
It
He did a
doesn't
spin.
give you an option to like mute the video.
No, it said
which is-
Mike is muted. It didn't mute the
Yeah,
clip though.
it's so fucking weird.
So that was a funny thing for me, just because like firstly I was discussing it with people, and they noted that one, it felt like everybody was just sort of laying around in this Royal Rumble, or in the past couple of years of Royal Rumbles, it feels like people are just laying around. To which I say,
I think you just noticed something that's always been there.
Yeah, look at every Rumble ever.
Partly that, like there was the idea that in the past there used to be more guys like, you know, being active in the corners and hitting and punching. To which I say, when you consider just how many quote spots are booked into the Rumble now, motherfuckers need space. When you look at that double stalling suplex with Ivy and Jordan Grace, it takes up like 3/4 of the ring.
That was funny because somebody was in the way. When
Right?
they went to do that, somebody was setting up a whole other spot in the way, and it was also a suplex.
That
So
was
it looked like-
Naomi in the corner.
Yeah, it looked like it was gonna be like a 3 people thing, and then she realized like, oh shit,
Wait, I'm not in this.
Because even
I'm in the
commentary,
shot.
even like Corey Graves is just like, oh, Naomi looks like she's go. No, she's not.
never mind.
Naomi looked like that rare but hilarious instance when you see a backstage promo and then somebody comes out their locker room just like, oh shit.
Road Warrior Hawk.
That's not my segment. And other than that, like, I also remember just thinking as I'm watching this, oh man, Punk just gave away the finish with like 10 seconds left.
Oh, did you think so?
Yes. The moment he looked into the camera and just goes, I didn't come back after 10 years just to lose to Dusty's kid. I'm like, he's going over.
I didn't know that happened.
He says it right into
He
the
does,
camera. And everyone immediately goes, Punk's going right over right now.
I thought that was a quote from like Raw I missed or some shit. I didn't know that happened at the show.
No, Punk says it right to the camera, right
That's
as
hilarious.
he's Cody up.
So I mean, speaking of CM Punk,
Segway.
I got a clip
Right,
here,
ups.
at least one that doesn't belong to us. I think I can get away with 4 seconds of.
Way to do it.
You're a dangerous
So
man.
I am very dangerous. Let's see what we can do. So,
Highway
uh,
to the danger
so
zone.
at some point early during his time in the Royal Rumble, CM Punk gets injured. People have reviewed the tape and they feel like this might be the moment that it happened.
McIntyre, future shock.
As you can see there, he grabbed onto his tendon area, and there was nothing particularly different about what Drew McIntyre did with the DDT there. It's just one of those things that happens based on whatever's going on in your own body.
Yeah, it's not much different than like there was nothing significant about the initial Triple H quad tear. It just happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at Kevin Nash just running across the ring.
Yeah,
we can make some guesses, but
other than the potential steroid conversation, yes.
You could probably make some guesses. But no, see it, and at first I thought when I heard that after the show, I heard that CM Punk might have possibly gotten injured the next day, and they said it was a tendon injury, and I thought that he re-injured the tendon that he hurt in AEW, but it is not the same tendon.
It's not. I thought it was.
Fuck.
I thought it was as well.
No, it is not. It is a whole new injury, which is like this man. All right, so it's fucked up because it's gonna come from someone with a skewed opinion already, so it's got like no credibility.
From Nick Hausman.
It's from me. So I got I kind of start to think to myself, I don't know if his body is going to be able to do what he wants to do.
So I will back you up there because I, as a CM Punk fan, came to the same opinion. When I heard about the tricep injury, and now even learning that it's the other tricep, I thought it was the same one from AEW.
No.
I came to the thought that I think his bump card just might be up, and it's just a thing that happens when you do it for that long, you know.
Yeah, it's one of the things I wanted to throw out there too is just number one, like you said, he's had a lot of bumps over the years and a lot of crazy matches in crazy places. But another thing as well is if it's the other tricep, my mind right now is thinking that maybe during rehab or working out, he was overcompensating with that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
During the whole recovery process. So that's something that I started thinking about.
He could still be overcompensating for it now.
Exactly.
Just to protect the other one.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
It's definitely possible.
He'll come back even now.
Yeah. But that combined with the fact that there was nothing really wrong or different about what happened about the positioning of that DDT. So it's like if he got hurt performing something absolutely correctly, then how do you protect yourself?
Right.
You know, it's sad to see because he waited so long and he finally came back and all these distractions happened. And when he was healthy, he was giving good performances and he was putting on excellent stories and matches. And then
the skill is still there.
It's not like, it's not like he's washed and tied, right? Because if you look back at fucking Samoa Joe versus CM Punk, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Joe versus Punk, very good. MJF versus Punk, very good.
This Punk, like after the injury, like
I was gonna say Kingston versus Punk too, yeah.
No, because before the injury for sure, before the tendon, you do have all this stretch of great Punk matches. But then even after the tendon, you get the matches that he was doing on Collision.
You meant specifically after the first tricep.
Yeah. So or the tricep.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking whatever the fuck is broken on this man's arm. The So I'm saying like he was able to have that match with Samoa Joe just last year, just in August. So I don't know that there could have been such a drastic change in CM Punk since then to cause anything. I think it's just time. And
Probably.
that's that really sucks because he's got a lot of time left on his WWE contract. It's supposed to be like 3 years or something like that. It also doesn't help for his mental health, as you would imagine that finally getting that WrestleMania main event would have been that cathartic moment he's been waiting for so long, for so very long. It still affects him to this day. I was looking forward to him finally getting this. So, because I've been like, this man needs therapy or something, like, but I thought like this would be like the closest we're gonna get to his. I hope it feels good. Now he got it pulled away from.
It would be the closest thing to like absolute closure for his wrestling career.
You know, and now to get it taken away this close, I'm like, did you just make it worse? Like, is he gonna come back even more?
Men will literally main event WrestleMania instead of going to therapy.
or more to Nick's point, maybe the fact that like maybe he's so determined to get that thing that he's working so hard for it and is overworking his body to the point where it breaks down like that.
Yeah.
It's true. Like it could be. There's a number of different things. He could have put himself through too much preparing to be in a Royal Rumble because in his mind he's thinking, "I'm gonna have to be out there for a long time. I need to do endurance." You know, it's a lot of things, but it has drastically changed the trajectory to this year's WrestleMania. It's fucked. I also think about Seth Rollins, who must be on a roller coaster of emotions, who gets injured, thinks he's going to lose his WrestleMania, gets a small glimmer of hope at having his WrestleMania back, and then loses his dance partner. So definitely lost the WrestleMania he thought he was going to have.
And I'll argue, depending on what the booking starts to look like, could potentially lose the main event.
Yeah.
I am really confused about this.
Let's hear it.
So Cody wins the Rumble.
Yes.
Fine.
I wasn't even talking about that, but let's get into that too.
You're right. He wins the Rumble. He comes to Raw, and then he gets propositioned by Seth Rollins.
By the way,
that's very fun verbiage to say.
The moment I heard about this, all I could think of is the
No, don't say Vince while I say proposition. Damn it, Greg. No.
I didn't say Vince.
I didn't mean that.
No chance.
I didn't say Vince. I said this.
Bring me back, baby.
No.
He's like a demon in a jar. You gotta be careful. You knock that thing over.
Twinkies in the apocalypse.
No, I was just thinking you've turned Vince's voice into the Green Goblin helmet.
Oh yeah. Shit.
Shane, we must take it back. No.
Oh god.
No. I as I was trying to say, the moment I heard about this, I just thought of Seth Rollins as like the Fresh Prince going through the whole like, why you don't want me, man?
It's one thing. It's one thing if Cody just picks Roman without like because he got his own shit going on because that's how he feels. You know, he doesn't even
because
mention Rollins or whatever.
That was always the direction for him.
Finish the
when
story.
He gets the fucking thing presented to him, like, hey, what about me? Would you like to wrestle me? Would you want to try my belt? Maybe this one, not that one. And then what? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Because if Cody says no, like, I'm sorry.
Now you're a bitch.
You see, I'm already going to the dance with somebody, and I don't know if I don't know if they would like
Roman
that.
already asked me. I'm sorry, Seth.
I'm sorry.
With someone else, exclusivity and all.
We
don't know if
kinda...
Roman would like that.
I like you like that. I like you, but don't like you.
Like we were good together, but it's just we've been like I've been there. I want to move forward with my life. You weren't really good for me. I got hurt. You hurt me back. We were toxic for each other.
I got history with you. I just also have history with him. He kind of knows my family.
I just want to see where this goes right now. This is where I'm happy.
Cut to just sad face, Seth.
I can't. I think this makes Seth look really bad if Cody says
I agree.
no.
I agree.
Please.
And man, I like the way he presented it too. That's what it almost makes it worse that he presented like a fully logical reasoning, because it's like he thought about it really hard. Like I really want this. You don't need the Hollywood belt, the Hulk Hogan belt. This is the Dusty belt. He invoked the name of Dusty to try to get Cody to get with him.
That's Cody's gimmick. That's Dusty's son.
But that's so weird because the whole story is about getting the belt that Daddy didn't get.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, do you remember they said that, like, no, this world heavyweight title run, this is a whole new lineage, not even associated with that old big gold belt.
Even the .com actually sticks with that.
Yep.
It doesn't have the background. It has Seth and who else?
Nobody. Just Seth.
It's
That's
just
the
Seth.
first one, right? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
and only
He's
right
the
now.
only champion.
Yeah, he's the only one on the damn list.
Yeah, he is. So that's my thing about this storyline. It's like, one, why? Like, why would we do this? Cody has such a clear, like, what's the point of throwing the scent off right now? What the fuck is the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's maybe there's a piece of the puzzle I'm not seeing because it hasn't happened yet. So, but I can't actually think of one that would satisfy this put the fucking hole in this picture. Like,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens. I theorize that because Dwayne Johnson had been asked about wrestling Roman and he was like, we're working on it. And then I thought, are they giving themselves an out just in case he says yes? Like, is that what's happening?
Just in case he fucking reneges on his entire plan.
The Vince stuff and the Brock stuff's a little too hot right now. I gotta get away from here and go back to Hollywood.
That's another thing. Like it actually should be harder to get Rock.
I actually don't know if he can do that. I think I think he's locked in. I think he's signed some paperwork. I think that man belongs to them.
For executive stuff, maybe.
For the executive stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that is a whole different contract from the athletic performance side of it, though.
Yeah, he hasn't signed anything to wrestle yet. That was actually a report specifically that he hadn't signed for a match yet, but that they're still talking about it. And in my head, it made sense for them to be the big Netflix feud. The big story going from January 2025 to that year's WrestleMania on Netflix Raw would make sense to beat Roman and The Rock. But you could start this year, I guess, but I don't fucking care to see that get involved in what Cody has going on. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And like, oh god, like Cody and Seth is such a nothing burger for Cody at this point.
Yeah, like I did this. He beat him 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
3 times.
He beat him 3 times in a row, and now he potentially would be beating him for a belt that, like, isn't even the one he wanted. Has nothing to do with finishing the quote story.
No, man. So the actual Royal Rumble ended with Cody pointing at Roman Reigns. I feel like
that's true.
They already did the big thing.
Cody makes the choice.
Anything that happens in between now and the next pay-per-view, they probably don't even fucking care about.
Just
like,
funsies.
It's just flavor text. We're just filling up time.
Yeah, we're just fucking shit up. We don't know what we're gonna do with Seth right now. We didn't know what we were gonna do with him on that Raw, but we flew him in, and we fucking want to set something up. Because then he shared on social media. Him and Cody shared this production official video, like, of their promo but it's got clips of Ric Flair and Terry Funk and Hulk Hogan and all this shit. And I was like, you people just slapped this shit together. You had to. So it doesn't feel like there's anything. So getting into what could happen at WrestleMania without going straight into the Vince thing, because I wanted to talk about wrestling before talking about the scandal. The Brock Lesnar is off of WrestleMania because of his involvement in the Vince McMahon scandal. Not only is he off of WrestleMania, he might be gone forever. We may never see Brock Lesnar in the WWE again for good reason. I don't have any fucking problem with that. Not because I actually like seeing Brock Lesnar on TV, but if he's involved in that stuff, he's got to go.
Yeah,
but so
which is fine which is fine for me as a fan, because I think like at this point I think Brock Lesnar has fulfilled every potential like viewable thing I could get out of him.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The last one. That was like the last one. This was like the last thing. This was like the notch. This was the year for the final Lesnar use.
I am okay with not having the Gunther match. I really didn't give a shit.
Same. Like, honestly, that feels like a waste of Gunther's time. And here's the thing I want to say, too. Like, Brock's never going to go for the IC title. But on top of that, the rumor, and you might be getting ready to talk about this, I personally didn't care if Brock Lesnar was in that spot that Rex Steiner, Braun Breaker had at the Rumble match, because it felt so much better to have someone fresh destroying stuff and not Brock.
Sure.
That's true. I'm big about I'm big about like closing circles, and Gunther is the WWE's new beast. Like, he's the WWE's new unbeatable monster. He's the guy who came right in, and his run to the top was not like unstoppable. There were no obstacles. He came into the company, he came to NXT, won the belt like 5 minutes in, never dropped it. Fucking lost to Ilya Dragunov once, and then came to the main roster, just steamrolled right through that shit. And now he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Which you can't say about his two friends who got very different roles compared to NXT.
It's been on and off with them, but good old Axel Dieter, Ludwig Kaiser.
All three names: Axel Dieter, Marcel Bartel.
Yeah, I forgot about Marcel Bartel.
Marcel Bartel?
Oh shit, I definitely did. So I think Gunther beating
Fabian Aichner, Giovanni Vinci.
I think Gunther pinning Brock Lesnar would have been like the big symbolism. Like, this is mine now. I own this, and I killed the monster that used to live here. But the monster killed itself. So I guess problem solved. Like, I guess Gunther doesn't have to dirty his hands then. But that just leaves Gunther without a dance partner, though, for WrestleMania. So if Gunther lost his dance partner and Rollins lost his dance partner, then I feel like the only logical thing to do is to...
Would you like to dance?
Wow, make Gunther go out there and win that damn belt. I don't have no problem with Gunther overriding the Ultimate Warrior WrestleMania moment with his own. Like, we can just cut back to the Gunther going into WrestleMania as Intercontinental Champion. and now
it's less like triumphant and cool, and more just like, holy shit, the Europeans did invade.
There's like no energy or anything with it. Just straight up, I have this now.
I love that. To end WrestleMania like that, and then red flags drop from the ceiling, and no, and the audience holds their hands out in adoration.
Let me tell you, I really enjoyed when Ludwig Kaiser came out in the Rumble and was slipping past all like the carnage in the battle.
I think somebody was fighting right by him, and you see him just go like,
yeah, he just like slips past, just like,
excuse me, we're here to wait for Gunther.
I forgot his whole spiel, but it's like I'm trying to play it in my head.
My thing with Gunther is obviously, I once wanted this very same thing for Jade Cargill. She had the secondary title. She was on an undefeated streak. I said she shouldn't lose the secondary title. I said she should hold on to it, win the world title, and then give the secondary title up. And then I was like, well, whatever. Somebody should beat her because they'll get over it. And I'm like, well, hold on a fucking minute. If you beat the Jade Cargill, who not only couldn't be defeated for the fucking secondary belt, she also went on to have a dominant reign as world champion, then you accomplished the same thing but with double the power, like to double the effectiveness. So if that can't happen with Jade because she left, I'm gonna transfer it over to Gunther.
You just potentially have to wait an extra 8 months.
Yeah, but what does it matter? Right? You still put this fucking beast of a fucking you basically gave yourself that much time to create someone to beat that person. You can give yourself enough time to make a fucking superstar if you were
Devil's advocate. The poor argument there is that like she came in and gave the TNT belt value and then just gave it up, so now it has very little value since somebody got to beat her for it. Devil's advocate.
I'd argue that it didn't matter in the end.
Doesn't matter.
But, it's always the booking. Chris Statlander, she had a decent. It didn't hit the same.
It was all right.
Yeah,
Julia's probably.
They barely booked her.
It was very rushed.
That being said, Gunther is here now, and I think we can do the same with him. And not only that, him becoming a double champion off of Seth Rollins is pretty cool because Seth Rollins himself did accomplish this. Except he didn't drop the secondary belt. He held on to that shit. Which
both of them.
I wouldn't have a problem if that's what they wanted to do with Gunther. I just think it'd be better. I think it's better served if, and it serves him as a character. Like he feels like the type of person to be like, and I'm done with this. You can have this back. I'm your world champion now.
Both would be inefficient and foolish.
Yeah, right. The math is sacred.
So number two, when Seth Rollins was the double champion, that was like crazy era Rollins where he was just going hard. He didn't care if he got hurt.
Yeah, that's how he got hurt.
Exactly. That's what he did.
That's what he did. So I'm a big advocate for Gunther going in and making this shit happen. Let's see where they go with this though. I don't know why they had to make Seth look like a bitch first. But
please, Cody, please choose me.
How come you don't want me, man?
Choose me, love me.
So
Seth Rollins turned into a pick-me girl.
I danced around it as much as I could. I promise you, I did. But, it's the big elephant in the room.
Oh, you here now?
We're here. Vince McMahon. He get caught up in a fucking horrifying.
You don't want to talk about Okada yet?
Outrageous, explosive scandal.
Maybe CMLL? No, I'm kidding.
I went back and forth. I went back and forth on how to talk about it because it's like there's so much. It's one of those things that I feel like wrestling fans shouldn't be like. This is not a thing we should be talking about in a wrestling podcast. It feels like it's so beyond us. But the nature of this particular scandal is so intertwined with all the shit that we talk about in pro wrestling that you can't move forward in conversation without just laying out this context first. Just laying it there.
They're trying.
It's literally the elephant in the room. If you go on any news website, they will be talking about this.
It got bad. It got real bad. Okay, so without reading the 67-page document, Janelle Grant filed a lawsuit against Vince McMahon after he basically he stopped paying his NDA when the scandal from last year happened. He just stopped paying them, and she decided that was grounds to speak out. You broke your NDA. So she did a lawsuit, and she laid out in graphic detail all of the things that Vince McMahon had done to her. It was, to say the least, fucking horrifying. It was like, holy shit. You knew Vince was there's all these years we've known that vaguely that Vince is some kind of predator-esque person. Like there's all these stories have been the Rita Chatterton story, the masseuse in Florida story.
For decades.
The girls that he wrote himself to make out with in front of his wife, the kinds of storylines that he himself would come up with to be involved with his daughters.
The amount of cuck storylines he gave wrestlers.
The time he would break up wrestler relationships for his own enjoyment, and now we kind of start to think like for his own fetish.
The Mr. McMahon character had a lot of elements of reality.
I think there's even a segment where Stephanie claims that Vince trafficked her.
I think she did say something to that effect once. Yeah. So
art imitates life and life imitates art.
It was definitely one of those moments where you look back at all the things he's done on television and it changes everything. The context of everything. I can't look at the Kiss My Ass Club the same ever again.
No one
ever again.
Even before this, you shouldn't have looked at it.
That's true, but now that's crazy. There's some parts of this that are just so outlandish that I wouldn't blame you if you just had to make jokes about it, because it's like, how could this possibly be? If you read the text messages, it's like, there's no way this is Vince saying these things. Like, this is crazy. It sounds like a 13-year-old horny teenage boy speaking to an AI or something.
And I guess
not
some of
a
those
real
texts
person.
too, like when response to something is done like a business email where you say and then
regarding the previous text, I want to forever. It's like crazy shit.
Because you said that, I'm just imagining like Vince playing those like Japanese dating sim games.
It's other places have like decided they were going to cover it in depth and just kind of lay out the things that were in the lawsuit. And I thought technically, like, because before with the Chris Jericho thing, everything was like secret and nobody was speaking. I was like, well, we shouldn't speak for anybody. And in this one, it's like she spoke out and it's all in public record now. And if you want to read it and discuss it, that's what it exists for. But I just thought, I didn't know what words would trigger an algorithm to fucking suppress us. So I just
plus it's been so talked about everywhere that good luck finding someone that isn't talking about it.
I don't think we need to get into those details. I just think the general idea is Vince was a sexual deviant and he needed to be put in jail at least. But I
don't want to say shouldn't surprise anyone, because like a character's a character and acting is acting. But at the same time, I don't know if people were surprised knowing the things they've known about Vince and the things that have always just been kind of like rumbly about him.
The rumors over the years.
I remember. I don't remember in detail, but there was like a very weird story that Vince once told in a Playboy interview, which just like
you're gonna have to tell. You can tell the people about that one.
I don't remember it in detail, honestly. Like have to find it.
He wanted to fuck his cousin.
Okay, was that
essentially? Yeah. But I mean, he had went into detail about having abuse in his childhood and the kind of things that he would think about.
Vince Sr. was a bad person.
No, so Vince Jr. I guess getting into this would give a little context to the kind of person he ends up becoming. Sure. Vince Jr. was actually like him and his mom were abandoned by Vince Sr. Yeah. He left. Vince Sr. went on and he does his own thing and he doesn't raise Vince Jr. at all. Vince doesn't find Vince Sr. until I want to say early adulthood, late teenage, early adulthood. So then
that's why taking the fucking company from his dad meant shit to him.
It didn't mean anything to him, and any of his dad's wishes didn't mean a fucking thing to him. As a matter of fact,
if anything, fuck his wishes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if
other friends.
Yeah, if he went on and did that on purpose. Like is that what you don't want? Now I know the first thing I'm going to do.
I'm going to bump on every promise you made.
I will betray all of your friends. I will betray all of my own friends. I don't give a fuck,
I don't know these people.
And not to like excuse anything, because like the thing too was Vince himself was also abused and assaulted by his mom and his mom's boyfriend, and
really
things like that, and had like a bunch of incidents like with people, the kids he grew up with.
He definitely had a very, very troubled past. Like for all the fuck. I hate to compliment. Like, is this gonna sound like a compliment? It's not meant to be. Like, especially now. Like now that we know he's like a monster, but
yeah,
he went through a lot, and he was able to create himself even in spite of all that. And it was for a long time really inspiring. But it kind of paints a picture about. It kind of paints a picture of how a person ends up here. What kind of person becomes the person Vince McMahon is. I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm not a therapist, but I do have at least 30 years of human life that I can draw back on. And I get this feeling that a person who grows up not having enough, not being able to do whatever they want, and then comes into that ability to do whatever they want, however they want to, without boundary. Like, there's to come into the kind of influence and power that Vince came into, because it's like, I said it to myself all the time. It's insane to me how Vince was able to turn a wrestling career into political influence, global political influence.
Media influence, even
media influence, but like on top of media, like fucking friends with not just like Donald Trump, who became president. You're talking about like friends with like
which to be clear, like you have to remember sometimes it's important to remember when it comes to the Donald Trump relationship, that was a relationship he forged like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that was a relationship he forged for fun. That's like one of his bros. That wasn't even a business relationship.
We're just money bros, dog.
Yeah.
That was Democrat era Trump.
Yeah, one of my money bros became the president. It's like, yo, money bro.
I'm talking about him going on to get like, bro, the Saudi Arabian prince, right?
Yeah.
That is one of the most powerful, one of those rich people on our planet. Vince became the kind of person to tell him no and not lose his head.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon shut down one of the Crown Jewel pay-per-views
and left
mid-show and left because he didn't get paid on time by the Saudi Arabian prince. Who the fuck?
Which worked out great for everyone else.
He was like, I'm gonna hold your wrestlers here, and Vince's like, I don't give a fuck. I will hire 60 more tomorrow.
It would be quite easy.
He walked out.
Think about who was on that card. He pretty much did.
That's fucking crazy. But no, not even that. He took the main guys with him. All right, who do I care about the most? You guys on my plane. Mick Carter's.
Top 3 draws on my.
I think at that point, like Flair still had access to a jet. I think Flair took a few people with him.
But he did. But my point, the point I was trying to make was that that's how you create this kind of monster. You basically, I have no issues believing that this is how it ended up here. That's not giving him an excuse or saying that he should be treated better or given a sympathy.
Just an observation of the steps you take on that road, man.
Which is crazy too, because like he had so many opportunities to be a success story that everyone just like would cheer for, and instead look at the monster that he's been for years.
That's the thing that's the kind of scary thing about this, is that this girl spoke out, but this is just one.
Exactly.
You know? Oh yeah. And there are, on the record that we know of, 3 other women, one of whom was paid a significant amount more than this one.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you wonder, what the fuck? Because the things that he did to this girl are like, what else was left? What else could he have done that he had to pay someone else more?
Right.
And that person was an on-screen talent.
Woof.
I don't know. It's crazy. So all that stuff comes out amid WWE announcing the biggest deal in the fucking history of the media rights negotiations with Netflix, and you start to wonder if like, are they about to lose Netflix? Like, this is crazy. This is insane. Slim Jim pulls out. I'm pretty sure they start getting pressure from other sponsors to back the fuck out.
Allegedly,
Vince.
Slim Jim had backed out days before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Slim Jim
Remember
pulled out.
too, Slim Jim is such a huge sponsor for WWE. I mean, look at when Randy Savage left and Slim Jim went with him, how impactful that was for WWE financially at that point.
Lanny says that pissed off Vince more than Savage.
Exactly. I bet.
Because again, look at the arena difference from just like a year and a half later. Literally Monday Night Raws in high school gyms.
Yeah.
He frames it as like, I lost a friend. But he's really thinking about that damn Slim Jim deal. Like,
yeah.
I lost my deal.
I remember listening to like Lenny Poffo set that up. He was like, what do you think Vince really lost there? It's like, it wasn't Randy. It was the Slim Jim deal.
So
and they still use Randy today.
They do. His voiceover is in the LA Knight commercials.
That's true.
But Slim Jim pulls out. Netflix, I think the report doesn't say they threatened to pull out, but they did kind of say they were happy to be moving forward now that Vince is gone. So like,
potentially reconsidering until then.
Yeah, they were like, let's see what the fuck they're about to do here. Because as it turns out, Vince McMahon needed to make the choice on his own. He could not be forced out. The contract literally was written in a way where he could not be fired or removed or voted out. He had to resign or die. And once Slim Jim pulled out, and once I'm sure other sponsors started saying he's got to go, Vince knew what it was time to do.
Yeah.
So
before he suffers some sort of tragic accident.
Oh yeah. Because I'm sure
stairwell or some sort.
I'm sure it was
some of the UFC
planned.
fighters show up somewhere.
What's going on? So of course,
it's Andrei Arlovsky outside my mansion.
Thursday
just goes home. Just like I'm not. Just goes home like Leonardo DiCaprio was like, I'm not fucking leaving. And then the rest of the boardroom's just like, so Vince has to go.
Are you calling the SWAT team or am I?
So to round a couple things out, of course, without getting into details, as we mentioned, there was about 13, 14. There's about over a dozen people mentioned in the lawsuit, but the only people mentioned by name were Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and Brock Lesnar wasn't mentioned by name, but he was alluded to, and it's fairly clear that he is the person they were alluding to. So John
Laurinaitis, who potentially, because I just love bringing this up, John Laurinaitis, who potentially was doing all these things while the woman he was dating was dealing with brain cancer. Married to
the mother of the Bella,
suffering from brain cancer.
He's stepping out on his ailing wife. Horrible.
Bella Twins' mom and Sable are really going through it right now.
People are scum too. People are scum. The Bella Twins speak out, and people are like, "How dare they? What do they know? What should they say?" It's like
it's only
involved.
Even if it wasn't their mother, they worked in the fucking company, and they were there for like 20 years. I mean, they were. More people should be fucking speaking out and apologizing or saying I didn't see shit, but they did speak out and they were like, this is horrifying. We stand with all victims and all that. They said the basic thing that an AI could write, but it was more than enough.
I guess it just the automatic assumption is that like they totally knew something.
I don't think
if you're a cynic.
Yeah. I think people So this is the part of the podcast where I put together the context that I know, and I think that for sure there are going to be some more people that we as wrestling fans probably admire or look up to
About to
that
get found out and
are close to Vince, and even if they don't get found out, like they probably benefited at least once or twice from the kind of things
behavior.
doing, the kind of behaviors he was taking part in.
So many decades, and it's entirely possible it might even be some legends that are past by now.
But absolutely,
I was gonna say,
absolutely.
I was gonna say, isn't it even arguably possible that some of them even like indirectly benefited in ways they don't even know about?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
100%. But I think about the wrestlers, the ones that are alive, and I start to look at the ones who have a really close relationship to Vince, and I start to try to figure out, based on what's been said or what they've said in interviews, what kind of relationship they have with Vince, and I kind of start to worry.
It's like,
yeah,
that moment when Brock Lesnar walked out when Vince was first ousted.
Yeah,
and Vince goes to his house. They go to his house. Vince flew to his house to fucking get him to come back. They're that close.
Yeah,
I start to think of the people he's that close to, and I'm just
there's
like,
a few people whose names come to me immediately. Oh boy.
I was just like, hey, there's some that I like to think like there's just no way, but you just never know. Like, I'm sorry, I have childhood trauma. I don't trust any fucking body.
Like, I never should. Period.
Again, you never should anyway, but I just don't. Like, even the most pure, there's just no way wrestler. I'm just like, knowing you have a close relationship to Vince is like, all I can do now is hope. All I can do now is just hope not.
Here's one of the things I wanted to say too before we get like any other areas here is like when I personally read through every single part of the court document, and for those of you who have listened to the podcast before, I've been a part of the Cold Case Project for years now, and I've read through a lot of different court cases, court documents, you name it. I have never once read through anything that from start to finish has been crazier and crazier as the pages go on and on.
Really?
It's literally, this is one of the most insane cases that you could possibly imagine.
Full transparency, I have not read a single thing.
Well, you should. And it's like, it's not that it's like, I understand being like, I don't want anything to do with that. It's crazy. But as not just fans, but like observers of the industry and kind of keepers of the knowledge, almost like, it's almost, if you care that much, it's a very important piece of context for the rest of wrestling history and for looking back on wrestling history.
Yeah.
It's a very important piece of historical text.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a hard one to get through. But if knowledge about wrestling is your thing, that's one that you probably should take a second, at least to skim or look at. It sucks to have to
it'll
do
probably
that.
Be it'll probably be something I look at some point. I know how I am. I knew when that show came out that I was just like, I was trying to get away from the sleazy parts of pro wrestling for a long time.
Dark side of the ring.
Yeah. Like I get it. It sucks. The industry is fucking awful sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a TV show on it. I watch it now. I've gotten a distance from it, and I've come to appreciate some of those episodes. But it was just one of those things. I was like, okay, this is really fresh, and I just don't feel like putting this crazy. Like I'm already hearing how crazy it is. I'm just going to take your word for it at this point. I know I will read it eventually.
I just remember I hadn't read it, and I was getting bits and pieces, and it was like, okay, well, that's crazy. And then I'll get more bits. I was like, okay, that's crazy. And it's like, it got so fucking outlandish that I had to go to the original document because I'm like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
like people started memeing on it, so it's just like this is getting really crazy and excessive. There's no way this is, an actual thing.
And then you start reading it, and the memes become more and more accurate, I imagine.
Yeah, and it's just like, how is this real? How has this actually been a thing? And when you think about like the timeline of everything, because when you mentioned Dark Side of the Ring, I'm instantly thinking of a couple of them, like the steroid trials, for instance. And if you look at, like last year, or the year before, it feels almost like this might be the reason why McDevitt retired when he did.
That's the first thing I thought of when I heard this. I said, that's why that motherfucker got out of the way. Because there is no way. The timing is insane.
Remind me?
Jerry McDevitt is Vince McMahon's like legal hitman. This dude,
and personal bestie, who, and like the only real thing he's ever truly
lost my whole mic talking about this guy. That's
the only thing this guy has lost case wise was like the WWF thing.
It's insane.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
We lost John there. I was just gonna say, like the only real case I could think of that he's lost for Vince was the WWF lawsuit.
Oh, the Silver Trial?
Where they had to change the name. But
that yes.
But apart from that, he's unstoppable. He was a powerhouse.
Pretty much is, and he built his career on cases with Vince. So like they were basically like a symbiotic relationship. Like they needed each other.
And if you look at Dark Side of the Ring, like he even shows like they were like family friends. They were at all kinds of things together. They have pictures in each other's houses.
It sounds like Cornette and New.
Well, yeah, like in a fucking weak ass bootleg. Not even a tenth of the power way.
Oh, of course, not the power, but like the relationship and the
yeah. So Vince in the court documents, he even tells this girl, like, I have a friend Jerry. He makes bad people go away. Like, it's fucking crazy.
That doesn't sound like a lawyer.
That's the kind of shit. That's the kind of lawyer Jerry McDevitt was.
Woo.
I imagine that just means he draws up some sick ass lockdown paperwork and somebody gets paid $1 gazillion and they disappear.
The NDAs are powerful.
You know that it wasn't. You know that you could hide sexual assault in an NDA up until just about a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh, is that like a new thing they repelled?
They just changed the law to make it so that an NDA can't hide that. But then here's the fucked up part. It's not a retroactive law.
Right. Yeah. It only affects anything after. It only
goes forward.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of these things may never come out.
I think there's elements, though, where violent crime does, no matter what, though, still overturn certain NDAs.
Yeah, 100%. You're right about that. Because you can't, like, kill somebody and hide that shit in an NDA, Although some lawyer will probably make your life really fucking hard just for speaking about it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too. It goes to show like the amount of power that Vince has had over so many things. And if you go to like the Lost Media Wiki, one of the articles, diving this back into Dark Side of the Ring, is on photos that people took from the plane ride from hell, where they were getting off the plane and talking about all kinds of different things. Somehow, some way, every single picture from those photographers vanished. No one knows where they are or anything. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So Vince's power goes very far out, and itself can even capture up different evidence and media and whatnot.
But thankfully, he slipped up, and this is the one. This is the one to do it. There's no coming back this time. That aggressive Succession HBO-esque comeback that he pulled off. That was it. That was the final. That was the Hail Mary. That was the last spark.
Is there a possibility that we attribute this slipping up just to like his age and his inability to keep up with his own bullshit?
There's a part of me that thinks the ruthless Vince, in his own weird, fucked up, really fucked up way, slipped emotionally here.
Okay.
So in the documents, it says he referred to this girl as his girlfriend.
That's weird.
I thought first that's weird. I thought because the first thing you think is, well, no person would ever treat their girlfriend like that if you really thought there was a girlfriend. Then you have to remember that Vince has a really fucked up upbringing, and that his idea of what a girlfriend is and what a girlfriend does might not be what we think it is. So I think that he it's a fucked up objective thing. I'm saying like doesn't have any emotion attached to it. I still think
We lost John again.
Jerry McDevitt keeps getting me.
He keeps going to retirement for one more time. One last victory.
I'm a bad person. He's gonna make me go away. No,
Okay, wait, you mentioned the convenience of it. When did McDevitt retire?
Not like a fucking month ago. Like
okay,
it was like 2022 or 23 that he at least said that he was considering it, but it was within the last couple of years he had to have retired because all of the stuff probably either started coming out or Vince is like,
was it before? Was it? But I feel like it was after. Was it before or after the first scandal? We gotta Google. We gotta find this.
All right, Jerry McDevitt. Let's look this up right now. Researching live. Jerry McDevitt cites retirement as WWE replaces attorneys. So this article, a lot of the articles at this point say July 5th and 6th of last year.
See, that's what I knew. It was very close. Like I knew it was that very fucking recent. So
right after Independence Day.
But the thing I was saying about the girl and Vince and the way he looked at her is that it turns out like Linda found out about this, and that was another thing. 2022. That was the thing that made me really, because I was like, okay, well, my initial thought is like, okay, well, this has to have been like a normal thing, like this has to have happened before because he's paid other women, but
yeah,
there was just something weird about the way that was framed, like. Linda found out about Vince's girlfriend and that he called her his girlfriend, or that she had a problem with it. If you would think that if this has happened before and if it was well known, then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal for Linda.
I know. I love the specificity that like she had that the thing that Linda had a problem with was calling her a girlfriend.
Well, the problem was that she found out, right, and that she was only going to. She was not going to divorce him if the girl signed the NDA. So as long as the information didn't come out,
that is such a rich solution to a problem,
isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't it? Because what do you do? Like if you're in Linda's position, right? Am I gonna turn my whole life upside down right now? Like, can I fix this? You know,
especially when, and then I've said this to people about the Smith relationship. Your relationship has also become your business.
Oh yeah, that's it right there. I mean, Vince's relationship with her put her in the White House.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. And then plus, she always wants to, run for office in different ways, in different capacities, and this, without a doubt, will hurt that.
I think she raised money for fucking Trump now for this thing he's doing here.
Well, she was part of his cabinet.
Exactly.
No, but then she left so that she can do like dirty shit. I fucking swear she left the cabinet so she can raise money for them in ways that you don't have to, in different ways. She's like still part of his team, but in another fundraising part where people can ask less questions.
Not in the more official capacity.
Like, I think she's still on the team. She's just not in the cabinet. Like she's like a fundraiser person. Okay. Like we're going to get money. And who the fuck knows where they get their funds from? No,
that's a whole different conversation.
But so all that happens. Vince is removed by Thursday. Not removed, but resigned. A text goes out on the WWE app that the employees have. And it basically says, it's from Nick Khan. I wanted to inform you that Vince McMahon has tendered his resignation from his positions as TKO Executive Chairman. And on the TKO board of directors, he would no longer have a role with TKO Holdings or WWE. And that comes out, and then not immediately, but like an hour later, Vince puts out his own statement. He says, I stand by my prior statement that Miss Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth.
The truth.
And AI wrote this. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name. However, out of respect for the WWE Universe, the extraordinary TKO business, its board members, its shareholders, partners, and constituents, and all the employees and superstars who helped make WWE into the global leader it is today, I have decided to resign my executive chairmanship and the TKO board of directors effective immediately. That was the end of Vincent Kennedy McMahon as WWE chairman, and that's the statement that ended the 50-year dynasty of the McMahon family.
McMahons are
By
gone.
the way, none of those people
When I count
speak
Triple
to
H
him
marrying
anymore.
him.
Am I to understand that?
What's that?
Allegedly.
None of these people speak to him anymore. Am I to understand that?
I feel like Linda didn't go through all that trouble just to end up exposed at the end, and she's probably really mad right now. So I feel like if he did have anybody left, then she might
Not
be
anymore.
gone.
But not Stephanie and Shane.
Probably just
Well,
right now
what-
the Brocks and the Johnny Aces right now.
Well, what we know is that Stephanie was one of the people who convinced him to resign in the first place, and she
And
left.
sold out.
I mean,
way
when
earlier.
she convinced him to resign in the beginning, the first time.
Yes.
And then when he came back, she decided she couldn't work there anymore, and she left. So
sold all her stock. She's like, I'm out.
You have to
done.
imagine that. Yeah, I don't know that there's a good relationship on the other side of something so
And
drastic.
it definitely
like
doesn't
that.
sound like there's a good relationship with Shane.
No,
Even
but
before all of this, it felt like
Yeah.
that was going south.
Shane, people are so funny. They started spreading rumors that Shane knew when he left because he didn't want to take part. I was like, I think he left because he thought Stephanie and Triple H were gonna be the people who take over the company. He didn't want to be the odd man out. Like,
I heard a story that Shane had left on some sort of moral grounds because it's like you need to stop doing this bullshit.
No,
well, I don't think that lines up with a lot of the stuff that was going on. Like, Shane comes back to the company and works there
Yeah.
for a while and
Years.
tries to like book himself in the main event of WrestleMania at one point. Like, he didn't have no issue working there until they fired him because he sucked at his job.
Well, remember too the perception
also-
at the time of like 2016 Shane, where he comes in and he's like, I'm going to save WWE and improve everything, and then they have him on like SmackDown back when SmackDown was really good in 2016.
Yeah, like it. I could see how somebody might reason it as like Shane came back inkling to take power back into the company.
That's sort of what it ended up feeling like. Like, maybe he thought, if I can really get my niche in this creative part of
More
my
so, if I can get the support of the talent and the executives, we can oust him.
Well, he certainly didn't have the support of the talent or the executives. So he was really bad
did
at
not.
I didn't watch Succession, but I imagine if there was one that was really bad at it, it was him. Stephanie just keeps getting it right, and he just keeps fucking it up.
I mean, the thing to think about too is just the fact that, like, while yes, the McMahons are all out of WWE right now, you still have the family associates and relations like a Triple H, like a Bruce Pritchard that have been with Vince for however long he has.
To my surprise, I saw Ronda Rousey actually cued in on that, which I thought was shocking.
She said if he's still around, then Vince is still around, because when Vince got released last time, Bruce Pritchard was still his puppet. And that is about how everybody... That's coming from somebody who was there, so it's good that it's coming from somebody who's there, because everybody and their mother knew. Everybody knew if Bruce
I thought
Pritchard...
it was interesting that it came from somebody who was there, but is still relatively speaking distanced.
Yeah, I mean, she's gone now, but it was so recent that she was there. She got to see him. She got to see the process.
When I say distanced, I mean like she doesn't have the history in the company like most people would have to know that.
She don't give a fuck about these people. This was a job.
She just knows because she can see it.
Yeah,
it's Ronda Rousey. She'll say and do whatever she wants right now.
That's pretty much because she used to speak out when she was in the company too. Like, these girls not getting enough time. I'm not getting enough time. They don't want to let Liv fucking do thumbtack spot.
So, she was complaining that her and Liv didn't get to do the angle, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. But the thing about Triple H is that a lot of people assume because of the position that he's in, because he's done so much good now that Vince McMahon has been gone, that he's like somehow safe. And I just don't think that that's true. I don't think that.
I think I think safe is a relative word there.
Well, the thing about it is that the reason the word safe is used is because that I guess sources within TKO kind of told I can't remember which fucking sheet it was, but
Okay.
they told him that if people thought maybe Ari Emanuel, the owner, basically
The Endeavor fellow.
the
Top
Endeavor,
dog.
they thought that maybe he would have known, and I do think he made. All right, so I mean, there's a lot of, if you don't understand, right? Vince, the fucking idea is that Vince probably got this guy to agree to take WWE on as long as Vince gets to keep his chip, but the guy already knew what Vince was involved in, like what scandal pushed him out.
Right.
The idea that he was paying women to be quiet, right? When he fucking took this deal. So
when we all thought Vince was gone the first time.
Yeah, so people figure like if you knew that, then how could you be surprised at this?
Yeah.
But I guess he probably doesn't have like the historical context of Vince McMahon. Like I don't know if he knew. I think he probably thought like this is just some old man paying off some concubines. You know, like it doesn't matter.
So,
we can get over this.
I'll take the chance of asking this on air.
Oh.
No, it was just something I
All right, goodbye, guys.
It was something I saw, which I didn't necessarily believe, and I just wanted your opinion on. There was an idea that I saw somebody with the idea on Twitter that if the dirt sheet people knew, i.e. Meltzer and all that stuff, they are just as complicit as everyone in the company.
That's like no, because we're complicit too because we fucking knew. Like we've always known Vince was a fucking predator. Like we know everybody knows.
I think it's the idea that like Meltzer probably knew stuff like this and never published it in this sense.
No, I don't think
which I don't know. I don't think it's all that true.
Because I don't think he did know. Like he's never implied that he knew.
Of
course. He knew this. That he knew that he knew Vince had a girlfriend, Janelle Grant, who he did these things to. I don't think
how often too has like Vince openly tried to distance and keep those types of like dirt sheet reporters away and whatnot.
Yeah, him and Meltzer haven't been close since the goddamn early '90s. So I don't.
When all that shit went down.
And going back to look at that Phil Donahue interview after the context today is like crazy. Go check that shit out if you want to.
I've actually never seen it.
Did you not? I've seen it like twice.
No.
It's fascinating seeing Vince confronted straight up like that.
I haven't seen Vince confronted straight up since Bob Costas.
That's also a good one. The Bob Costas thing is what I always refer to when people are like, that Tony Khan, he's going crazy on Twitter. I'm like, have you seen Vince in a pressure situation?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, have you had? I feel like he's.
That man was about to fight Bob Costas.
Like, I think Tony Khan's handling it quite well, actually. For all things
Vince
considered.
or even a Bischoff.
Right?
That was an interesting character trait about that Vince. Like younger Vince just loved confrontation.
Yeah.
Look how jacked he was. Can you imagine?
Yeah. It was that, and it was just he was so cocky. Like, how could you? He felt like he was in control of every situation.
Like when you feel invincible, anything's worth a punch, right?
It's true. It's true. So Vince gets ousted, and the Royal Rumble weekend goes about as well as it can, missing a few of its major pieces. Brock Lesnar was scheduled to get eliminated by Dominic, work with Dominic in Australia, and then work with Gunther.
Really?
Yeah, they were gonna do Brock versus Dominic.
They're gonna kind of recreate that like Maven eliminating Undertaker spot.
Oh my god, that poor Sean. Saved his life.
He was gonna get destroyed in Australia, and Rio is gonna have to deal with her little boo getting murdered, but it's not gonna happen, I guess.
Fucking Dom was gonna do the wheelchair gimmick for like 8 months.
They should have Braun Breaker do it. Just like completely slot Braun Breaker into the Lesnar thing there.
That's the thing that I felt like when I was watching that, and I think a lot of the people that I was watching with too felt the same way.
I heard a lot of people
It was so much more fresh to see like Braun Breaker in that spot, and honestly, like again, like it felt so much better than if you picture Brock in there.
It's cool to see Braun in that spot too. He was in Brock's spot at the Rumble, and he eliminated all the people Brock would have eliminated, and he got eliminated by Dominic the way Brock would have.
Like having a Steiner in that intense spot is perfect.
And he was already referenced on Monday Night Raw, so it sounds like he's going to be on the SmackDown roster.
Yeah, supposedly he had made a comment that this is my home now. Sorry,
well, he said
your ankle's dead.
He said that first, and then Nick Aldis on Raw was like, "I have to take this phone call. It's Braun." Like,
I think by home he meant like main roster.
No, yeah, that too. But I mean, like, it was doubled down. Like, they doubled down on it by referencing the fact that he's negotiating to see which roster he's going to be on.
Okay.
And it sounds like he's going to be on SmackDown.
The only funny part from the fucking R-Truth segment I liked.
Oh, the tag! I thought the hot tag in the middle of the Royal Rumble was actually hilarious. I thought that was really funny.
Wait, actually, no. Did you get the backstage segment on the screen?
No, where he comes
the
out.
one after the Women's Rumble?
I didn't get a backstage segment after that, but I did see him.
Social media exclusive.
Was it? Okay, so he gets the backstage segment with Adam Pearce. So he's just like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, I thought it was my spot." He's like, "No." He's like, and like, "Isn't that what you told me yesterday?" He's like, "That was the other guy. That was Nick." You mean Tom and Nick?
Those R-Truth moments are amazing.
And Adam Pearce is just like, "I hate my job. I hate it here.
That's right.
I want to go home."
That's perfect. R-Truth is great. I like the continuity. I like the continuity that he came out at number 24 in the Women's Royal Rumble, and that was his number, like in the Men's Rumble too.
Yeah.
Because I thought, like, when he came out earlier, I was like, okay, well, that's gonna be his like that. I'm keeping this in my fucking mind because if they fuck this up,
you're like, don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Which that itself they broke a little continuity of because they made it seem that like when he drew the number, he was like, "Does this mean I have to quarantine?" So everyone's like, "It's either 19 or 20."
Yeah, and it was 24.
Yeah.
So
man, I was gonna joke that I'm sure you were glad that they didn't do the 10 joke.
I thought when 10 came out, I was really glad. I hate this stupid shit. It's fucking pointless. It is so dumb. It was cool the first time. That's the only time. Like, oh shit, they fucking brought him up. Like, that's awesome. And after that, it's like, kill me. Kill me. This sucks. So, I mean, life was going pretty well for Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Look at them. Royal Rumble Day. Vince is gone. Ding dong. The witch is dead. Look how happy Triple H looks.
Hunter looks hilarious.
Should have been spending that time preparing some fucking notes because the press conference came after the Royal Rumble.
He's like, "Oh, we're gonna sign Okada. It's gonna be great."
And first of all, no. And second, so in the court document, Greg just fucking gives a hurricane gush.
I'm sorry.
In the court documents, people on Twitter had kind of figured out that there's a person called WWE Executive Number 1 who has an office on the 4th floor, and Janelle, Miss Grant, once walked up to and went to introduce herself, and they implied that they knew who she was very well. And so, old screenshots of WWE documentaries came up, and as it turns out, one old Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, has an executive office on the 4th floor of the WWE headquarters. And so people start wondering, well, just how much did Triple H know about this, and why would he have voted his father back into the company knowing the things that he knew? So these are things that he probably should have had on his mind coming into the press conference after the Royal Rumble. But the man was woefully unprepared. He goes out there and he's asked first they asked Cody about, how does the roster deal with this situation hanging over them? And Cody gives a diplomatic answer that every Republican politician will be proud of. And
Like,
The media
Cody-
training is strong within Cody Rhodes.
Cody gave the response, and I think like Ari Emanuel was just like, "Yes, that's it. Thank you, Cody."
yeah, like Cody gave the response that legal would have written for him, and so Triple H gets asked. He gets asked three different times about three different parts of the scandal. The first thing he says is, "I'm gonna do what you guys expect me to do, and I just want to focus on the positives of this weekend." And he starts touting all these nice things that the company did, and he's asked again, and he basically says again, like, "Hey, like
Just keeps
y'all are ruining the vibe." Like, you're fucking. I'm kind of chilling here. I don't want to talk about this lawsuit shit. And it's like, no, he's asked about the lawsuit and whether he's read it. And he says, like, no, I haven't read the lawsuit. So now an executive of the company is admitting publicly at a press conference that they did not read the explosive 67-page court document that just affected your entire life. You just ousted this guy, so Vince got removed from power, and you don't even know why.
Your father-in-law and the head executive.
I paid people to read it.
The grandfather of your children.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. So, on a human level, people who don't really think much about the executive and job of it all, they're just like,
Yeah.
I understand. He didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted to move forward. Why would they ask him on this night? It's like, no, that's nice. That's a nice sentiment you got there. It's not real. It's not realistic. Like, this is his job. He's essentially a spokesperson at this event. He's going to represent the company, and guess what? The company is facing heavy scrutiny at this moment.
Scrutiny.
And that's what he should have been prepared for. I can't believe that somebody let him go out there unprepared. I can only imagine someone must have been nagging him all weekend to prepare, and he said, I got it. That's like the only way this could have happened. Just completely irresponsible. He goes out there and he gives these non-answers. He sideswipes everything. He tries to just talk about the show. And of course, what the fuck do you think happens? He generated a fuck ton of stupid-ass headlines because that's exactly what the company needed. Triple H sidestepping the questions about forced acts to talk about the company's amazing week. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. It was impressive. Look at him walk away. Look at how
Literally, Cody masterfully handled that compared to Paul.
At one point,
it looks like there's the video game alert going off in Paul's head.
Byron tried, like, usually they sit out here for a good while. They answer like 5-6 questions. Byron tries to wrap it up after like question 2. He's like, all right, final question. Like, we just started. What are you talking about? No, final question. And you can see here this image. Triple H finally has an opportunity to get up and walk away. He is flustered. He is defeated. He knows
man glasses.
He knows that he has made a mistake here tonight. It drew a lot of comparisons to Tony Khan's the way that he handled the Chris Jericho questions at the press conference. I just thought the biggest difference was that Tony Khan was addressing basically rumors, and Triple H was being asked about a 67-page legal document. And treated it the same way with the same, but he thought he was going to dodge it. Like, he did basically the worst attempt at the Matrix bullet dodge and just got hit every time.
He was trying to memorize different ways that he can wreck AEW.
It just didn't. It was bad. It was bad on all parts, and it made the whole situation worse. And I know that the company likes to just act like shit doesn't happen and just move forward, but this ain't going to be one of those. And if this does go to court and it does continue, there's going to be a lot more people exposed. And it's going to suck if Triple H is one of them, because the company could really use him. He's been a big help, and he's improved the product tenfold.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter as much as if he knew and he didn't act, then he's got to go. And the detriment to the company be damned. It doesn't matter. It's going to suck when Dwayne is the head of creative. This motherfucker doesn't watch wrestling. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. I like that big
Productions
guy.
is here.
Can you talk, big guy? Can you talk? So we'll be following that for as long as it needs to be followed. I refuse to let that Vince McMahon thing die in the wind. That needs to be addressed every time. Before the Royal Rumble on SmackDown, Trick Williams came out to make the save in a Carmelo Hayes segment. It was a surprise, so nobody was prepared for him to be there. When he did come out, the audience grasped onto him like they haven't grabbed onto an NXT wrestler in a long time. They were very aware of who he is. The whoop that trick chants were they were shaking the building.
Yeah.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. People
Get it.
People backstage in creative probably didn't know who the fuck he was.
Probably.
And so
not.
when he comes out and he gets that kind of reaction, they peek their head out. Who the fuck? What the fuck did we just get handed in our lap? They go out, they look at him, they see his stature. He's a tall boy. Turn around.
Athletic specimen.
Oh shit!
6'4",
I remember
240.
Look at this.
Inklings of like people talking about like as high as Carmelo Hayes had risen, that Trick Williams had eclipsed him on almost nothing.
It's partly because Trick has the look that they want, and he's developing other things too. Where
No, but I meant
Carmelo,
like with the fan base.
Well, here's the thing, like I was kind of unaware of like Carmelo and Trick Williams, so I watched like a little bit of NXT years ago, and I don't know what it was. Like Carmelo, like watching him, like he was a great wrestler, but there was something about Trick where he had this it factor. He had this natural charisma, like the way he was talking.
Just drawn to him.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I'm like, everyone's talking about Carmelo, but like Trick is something else. Like he could talk, he's got the look. There was something about him.
So here's my thing.
And Melo's getting all the main event spots.
But my thing with them too is that it's not Melo Melo's like the guy who didn't have to work for it. He came in and he has it. He has the charisma. He has the in-ring skill. He has the ability to talk.
That would piss him off.
So the guy that was meant to just be the sidekick, it starts developing, and people are seeing that development, and he has like the things that Carmelo is missing, the things that WWE will want out of a wrestler that you're born with that you can't fight, the fucking like the fucking height, the look, the body, and then he starts developing the other things. So WWE is gonna look at him a lot fat. It's just the way it is, and the fan base grabbed onto him. So now Melo's got it overlapped. He has been, and it doesn't help that he was booked. That Trick is being booked as like this awesome baby face, and Melo's being booked as like trying to undercut him and take away from him. So I think it's gonna work out. I think Melo turning heel, finally fully turning on Trick Williams, is going to work out for both of them.
Sure,
very fine. Because if Melo's been overlapped in popularity, it doesn't fucking matter if he's a goddamn heel. And he has the charisma, and he has the ability to carry himself as a heel and make himself work.
So I just looked at something about Trick. I didn't know this. Apart from just the WWE Performance Center, he got a little bit of experience with the CZW Academy.
Oh shit! Is that where he comes from? That is very cool. I love that.
That's probably the best success story that academy has ever had.
So honestly, is he like from Philly? Is he like from Philadelphia area? Or
so I think he was like trying to get in WWE with the NIL program, but like then they're just like, you need like a little bit more wrestling experience. So then he went and moved to Philly to be a part of the CZW Academy, and then he got more experience, and they brought him in and signed him.
It also turns out that he was going through football, and at one point had attended the Philadelphia Eagles rookie camp.
Oh shit!
In 2018.
this close.
Well, and he also had XFL as a backup plan.
I'll try not to hold it against him. These failed football players in pro wrestling go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, they do.
You
know how many guys came out of West Texas State?
Okay, I mean, go down the line. The Goldbergs, the Roman Reigns, the Rocks, the fucking
Stan Hansons,
the Stan Hansons.
Williams.
You could just go on forever and ever.
If they're not from there, they're going to be a bar bouncer in Minnesota.
Yeah. At 40 years old, baby.
You leave the Crusher out of this.
So
Warlord, Road Warriors.
So the word backstage in WWE is that they see Trick Williams as a potential WrestleMania main event. Now
that's a little early, fellas. I understand.
Slow down.
They saw him and they saw God. They said, "Holy shit! Look at this
specimen."
Yeah. So I think
natural athlete.
I think Melo has found himself in a situation now where he's going to have to be the one to take advantage of being placed in a position with Trick. Is now when Trick and Melo have their singles feud and they have their matches, they're going to be watching to see Trick, and Melo's going to have to
get their attention.
You really have to get their attention so that he doesn't get left behind. And I mean that like in the Office way, because I think he won't have a problem with getting the crowd. It's the Office that's the issue.
Though to some degree, like the old move is to go out of your way to make Trick look good, and they're just like, that Melo guy, he really came through for us.
You would hope, right? You would hope, but it sounds like this might have been one of those things where they didn't even know what was going on down there. They don't even know who. They don't even know who Melo made to look good or nothing. They just found this guy that they weren't aware of.
Yeah.
So I mean, good for him, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens. We got the NXT pay-per-view on this Sunday, and then it'll be on the post show. Or I don't know if I'll be on the post show, but I'll be directing it. They'll be there. The NXT crew will be there, and anybody else who wants to join.
It's also one of those things where, like, no matter how skilled Carmelo Hayes is, you start really looking at the physicality of it.
Yeah.
Carmelo Hayes is billed as 5'10", which tells me he's shorter.
He's probably like 5'5". It's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like Adam Cole being 6 feet. It's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely not.
He was shorter than Rhea Ripley. It's bullshit. So like, you start thinking about guys you guys you see potential in the future, and it's like no matter how good Carmelo Hayes is, you're thinking about how his physicality is a bit more diminutive than, say, a 6'4" Trick Williams. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Of WWE.
Trick Williams' build is 6'4", probably 6'2", maybe 6'1", but still better than that.
So, final thing of the night is February 2nd in Japan. Kazuchika Okada has been a free agent for exactly 24 hours.
I gotta catch that Tanahashi match.
He does have there's a couple matches left for New Japan, based off of just what they've done for him and what he's done for them. Respect. But he is a free agent and he is negotiating with WWE and AEW. He's not negotiating with TNA. No surprise there, but I guess people had this thought, this hope that maybe, and it's like that's probably not going to happen. But okay, since you needed to know, then no, it's not happening. He's not negotiating with him.
At least the relationship was mended, though.
So WWE confirmed to Fightful that they are in fact and have been in negotiations with Okada, or have negotiated with him or contacted him once or twice.
Sent feelers.
Because Pro Wrestling PW Insider reported that if there was any talks between WWE and Okada, then they didn't reach any great depths and they didn't last very long. It's being reported that not being reported because these are just people trying to put together context the way we do, trying to add some math the way we can add math. But what they do know that we don't know is that he is, negotiated for sure with both companies, but he's negotiated a lot more with AEW than with WWE, basically implying that whatever he was offered by WWE, he just didn't. He walked away from. I had no interest in this, but I did want to see what y'all had. So thank you for trying. But
Which, to be fair, there's also the pre-established relationship with AEW and anyone else within said company.
more than just the pre-established relationship with AEW and the trust he probably has in the people who run the company, he's particularly got that long relationship with Nick Jackson.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks were friends with Okada back when they were Generation Me. They were friends with Okado. They didn't know he was gonna be. They didn't know he was gonna be the Rainmaker. Like they didn't know he was gonna be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Which is the most trust you could probably have in a pro wrestling friendship. Like, you know, these
Absolutely.
two guys were my boys before I was worth shit.
Which you could argue, honestly, at that era for all three men.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because who knew what the fuck the Young Bucks are gonna go on? They were Generation Me.
Exactly.
You know?
I had an idea, but like that's because I had seen the buzz about them before they got to TNA.
I liked them a lot. I thought that they had I thought that they would have a very hard battle ahead of them. But they found I didn't because people always called them like Hardy Boys ripoffs. That was the thing.
I remember that era.
And they literally were for a little bit. I mean,
They feed into
Stage
it.
one Hardy Boys at that.
Especially because they wore like the green with like the tassels and stuff.
The Hardy
they
Boys,
fed into it.
The Hardy Boys, a lot of people don't remember.
You know when I started believing that they were going to be more than I thought they'd be? It's when they left TNA and they first started working ROH. And they had the matches with the world's greatest tag team. And there are a couple other matches that they had in Ring of Honor that I was like, I like these guys a lot. And then I followed them to New Japan and they had opening matches at Wrestle Kingdom. And of course, my fandom never wavered. But I did think that this is a major factor. Like, why would you not want to go make millions of dollars with the boys? Like,
the boys.
What? Okay, cool. Let me go check out this WWE thing. Like, let me just see. Like, maybe they're gonna hit me with some hot shit. Maybe they're gonna give me a contract that's like, you're gonna fucking win the title the day you come in or some shit. I don't know. Let me just go see what's up.
WrestleMania main event with Seth Rollins. We
I'll
need
be right
someone
back.
in that spot.
And apparently they just couldn't get him because he had an emotional connection in AEW already. And it does appear that that's the case. It looks like he's going to AEW. It looks like Barry Bloom got him the deal he wanted. It looks like Barry Bloom's like an inside agent. Like if Triple H hears that.
How did we lose John again?
Triple H hears that somebody that he wants to sign has Barry Bloom as an agent. He might as well just move on. Just gets back the fuck off. It's done. The inside.
Barry Bloom is the type of guy that was able to get Hulk Hogan that insane contract in '98.
That's right.
Oh, he's been in the wrestling industry that long?
Oh, yeah. He got a lot of guys really good deals. Like, he got Goldberg one of the biggest deals in '98, '99 as well.
And look at him today. Ospreay, the Elite, Kazuchika Okada, Chris Jericho. Like, that is a big deal. So, I feel like for sure.
For sure.
Fuck you, Barry. Fuck you, Jerry McDevitt. I feel like Kazuchika is absolutely AEW bound, and you know what? It's for the best. For me, for my own personal preference, it's for the fucking best. It's what I want to see.
You get to see the same Okada.
That's what I want. Like, I don't have no interest in like seeing him take the challenge of becoming a WWE superstar and cutting promos with the Miz and wrestling Baron Corbin. And I have less than an interest.
You don't want to see him be a WWE superstar.
I'd rather jump in front of a truck. But,
I saw somebody who was just like, they said like their heart wants them to see them in AEW, but they also can't turn down. And this is a thing that always happens. They can't turn down the imagery of seeing Okada at WrestleMania, which I think the WrestleMania thing takes over a lot for people.
that doesn't move me, and for a number of
No?
reasons. Partly because I don't give a flying fuck. I already saw Kazuchika Okada in front of fucking 50,000 people every fucking year. I see it every goddamn January. I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
And I think that's interesting too. I think for some people who are more distant from the Japanese product, Wrestle Kingdom doesn't hold that prestige for them like it clearly does for me and you. Like for us, like WrestleMania would just be another Wrestle Kingdom match for Okada.
WrestleMania is simply a stadium show. Like I get it. I get the reverence. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But in my eyes, the big deal for me about WrestleMania is that it took place in a stadium and there were 50,000 people there and they culminated the stories of the year.
And you sort of know that other people treat it like I my WrestleMania gear and my WrestleMania entrance.
Yeah, and so I've seen wrestlers treat Wrestle Kingdom or other Tokyo Dome Stadium shows in a very similar way. I got a special entrance. I got a special outfit. I came on a motorcycle.
Even nowadays, like WrestleMania is the only one that gets the big elaborate set.
Yeah, because they have to try to differentiate it from the other stadium shows now. We have to try to make it special.
To keep that legacy of like WrestleMania is the big one, so that's cool.
Ultimately, to me, like when they started doing them Crown Jewel Stadium shows, people were like, "Oh my god, I can't even watch this." I was like, it's literally fucking WrestleMania. Like they just gave them a whole ass WrestleMania. Like you look at it.
Or the greatest Royal Rumble.
Was it one of them greater than WrestleMania?
That was the thing. That was the way they advertised it. Yeah,
that's certainly one of the ways to advertise of all time. Remember too, like here's the thing for me: if I was signing some big money contract somewhere, I'm not going to be thinking of like as cool and big and the big money bonus associated with that event that it might be. It's just one show in the whole year. There's still so many other shows to think about and consider, and whatever.
That's a lot of shit to wade through to get to that WrestleMania.
Lots of elements, and even then, when you think about it, WrestleMania is only like the culmination of 4 months worth of storytelling.
Yeah.
Do we even know for sure if Kazuchika Okada dreamed of WrestleMania? Like there was a report that said he wanted to do WrestleMania, but I feel like I've never heard him say that.
I feel like every wrestler to some degree just is curious about it.
You think that, right? So I've been really curious about how WWE particularly is perceived in Japan. And
you know what's really fun? Do you guys remember in like 2004 when Ultimo Dragon signed with WWE out of nowhere?
I was just thinking that Ultimo Dragon's dream was to do WrestleMania and Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
At once.
Exactly. Yeah. So they got both of those done for him,
and then he slipped.
And then we lost him, and that was that.
He slipped again.
Fast forward like a month, and then he leaves.
But yeah, Ultimo Dragon's dream was to get WrestleMania and the working Madison Square Garden. He got to do both at the same time.
I know. I asked a question because there are so many wrestlers in New Japan who have spoken. Like I grew up and I didn't watch WWE growing up. Well, you get the fucking.
You know who did? Your fucking booker.
Yeah, Gato, clearly. Tanahashi, the president, did too.
Yeah, right.
But there's just a lot of wrestlers who didn't. And so in today's WWE, as much as they're trying to make headway in Japan, they have a deal now to get on Japanese television, and you look at the numbers, they don't hold a fucking candle.
You see numbers?
You see numbers. There are numbers.
I didn't know you saw numbers.
There are numbers, and there are not only numbers that you can see afterwards. There are live viewership numbers because the streaming service is it's online cable. So like that Amoeba shit, you can see how many people are. You can see how many people are watching.
Yeah, I think that's how people were watching shows before the services came out.
Yeah, and
they had Amoeba subscriptions.
And so WWE popularity in Japan is nothing compared to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And so that makes me really wonder, like, how much does Okada care about a WrestleMania when he's done the equivalent multiple times?
Yeah, my take on that is one of those things where it's like in Japan, for the baseball people, there is a reverence for Major League Baseball in America that I think there might be a little bit of reverence for the legacy of the WrestleMania name, but not nearly as much as the way baseball is like. If a player can go to America and try to succeed there, it's a big deal for them.
Yeah.
So I've seen some
you
fans.
get a lot more of that from the baseball stuff and maybe for some other sports, but not so much from the wrestling guys. I think the wrestling culture is too deeply entrenched there.
I think the biggest thing with WWE too, in the sense, is like they want Okada more so for their expansion into the Japanese marketplace compared to helping Okada live some sort of dream fantasy he had to main event WrestleMania. And because like look too, like they've just started doing like some like minor partnerships with like modern All Japan.
So here's why that isn't gonna work.
And Noah.
Yeah, that's true. No, too.
They let Shinsuke go over.
They're gonna get me. He's going to get me. That goddamn lawyer is not gone. He doesn't want me to speak out against this.
They let Shinsuke go over, and they let Kenta go over for the Marufuji anniversary.
Because then they just sent William Regal's son over for the All Japan.
Yes, they did.
So I guess here's why it doesn't matter. And I never had I'd never been able to see into the inside of a Japanese fan or the Japanese fans, or to understand how they react when a wrestler leaves. Does it interest them does that make them want to watch the thing that the wrestler goes off to do? And it turns out that's just not the way they see it. Like when a person like in Japanese baseball moves on to MLB, that's not going to make their fans in Japan tune into all their MLB games. As a matter of fact, what it does is it turns this person into a fucking idol, like a beyond a normal person. He's a hero now. He's gone out. He's gone across seas.
He's gone over to America to show the Americans the strength of the Japanese player.
Yeah, and we're happy for him, and we fucking revere him, and he's a hero. When he comes home to us, we'll treat him like one. Yeah. But we're watching clips, and we're just seeing him from afar. He's gone now. We're focused over here.
So
something
I can't speak to, but I've heard about when in the 90s when Hideo Nomo got signed to the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was a massive deal because Nomo was a big deal over there, and he came to the Dodgers, and he did very successful. What people have talked about that I can't confirm with my own eyes is that you would get scores of Japanese people who came in to watch Nomo play, and when Nomo got taken out of the game, they left.
That's great.
That's all they were there for. Nomo's 6 innings, and then they left, and then they went back home because, like, it's LA. The flight to Japan isn't exactly a big deal.
I guess the biggest difference between then and now is the accessibility.
Of course.
Like you had to fly out. You had to come out to see that because you had to witness it. You had to see it for yourself. You had to see him go out abroad and do this thing. You didn't get to go every game, but you get to fly out and you got to at least see one, right? So today, 30 years later, they don't need to take that trip. You can just watch the clips. You can go on YouTube and you can just see them from afar and just smile and go, "That's my guy." Yeah. And then you get back to work. And that's basically how they feel about Okada, where it's like, we don't hold any ill will towards him for leaving. We want him to go abroad and show the world. Right? I'm sure Naito does, right? No, Naito's actually probably really happy. He's like, wait a minute. I'm the only guy left. What the fuck? Hold on. I think I like it here. I can spread my legs. No, but so yeah, that's how they see the Okada thing. They're like, they don't fucking hate him for leaving. They're not mad. They understand the financial situation. They understand the yen is down. They understand that he's done everything in Japan. They want him to go abroad and show the world the Rainmaker. Yeah. Show him your strength and show him what Japan is about. But that don't mean they're gonna go watch AEW every fucking week. Although I guess
granted, if you're a New Japan person over there, you have a much easier access because they fucking put that shit on the world.
I was gonna say that's really big. That's a cool thing for AEW is that they are not like WWE where they're trying to make their own way in Japan. So it's like, oh fuck, New Japan is fucking overshadowing the shit out of us. Don't nobody care about this WWE shit. AEW just kind of exists over there as like a New Japan thing. Like Like, it's on New Japan World. New Japan wrestlers show up there. They claim to leave here, but they just go to that show. Like, it's kind of interconnected to New Japan in a way that's going to really benefit them if they ever run a show over there.
Sure.
And this is one of the things we said too, with like the Will Ospreay situation with him signing with AEW, is like there's still that established relationship and partnership that New Japan has with AEW. So if an Okada does sign with AEW, there's still, it's different now, but there's still, that way to see Okada whenever they do those partnership shows or send people over.
Yeah, there's still a tunnel of access to Okada if they so wanted. The same way they, like, once the relationship got better, there was access to Omega.
Yeah,
that's partly why they let AEW sign Ospreay, even though the contract wasn't up, specifically to keep the WWE aspect away. Like, well, fuck that. Well, if you're gonna leave, at least go to AEW where we know we can call you again. Like, fuck that.
I have access.
I had to explain to my friend who's just like, like, it'd be pretty cool if Okada showed up at Royal Rumble, and I'm just like, yeah, that contract doesn't end till February. This is a deliberate move. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. They were like, fuck that. All these contracts end in February now.
After the AJ thing, they was like, never again.
So I guess one fucking last thing that I actually forgot to put. I thought we were done, but we have one.
The invasion.
AEW announced that CMLL would be sending 4 of their biggest wrestlers to the show. They didn't explain. They didn't explain why or what they would be doing, but the wrestlers show up tonight on Dynamite, and they're sitting in the front row, and Moxley falls into them. They're like, get the fuck off of us.
Hechicero pushes him.
Dirty gringo. And they throw him off. And
me seeing the timing, I'm thinking it's just an extension to Fantastica Mania.
He flips them off and disrespects them. They're like, not only is he disrespecting me, this motherfucker all of Mexico. So we go after the match. He disrespects them again. They jump the barricade and they beat the shit out of him.
And then security that runs down, they beat them up too.
They beat up security too. You're right. I didn't realize that. They beat up security, and then AEW wrestlers come out and the roster runs them off. So
with like chains and pipes and bats.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of here. Like, so what I thought might have even been at first, I thought it was just gonna be cool matches. Then I thought it was just gonna be Blackpool Combat Club versus the Luchadores that came. It turned into interpromotional war, AEW against CMLL. And the way that Moxley set it up makes me believe that they're going to run a show in Mexico. Because Moxley set it up like he fucked up. He caused the international incident. He went out there, he disrespected them, he caused them to jump the guardrail and beat his ass. Essentially, he's a heel in Mexico right now. If they were to go to Mexico and run a show like AEW versus CMLL, AEW would be the bad guys.
They fired the first shot.
Shot. So that makes me believe that next week's Tony Khan's big announcement is going to be an announcement that Forbidden Door 3 is CMLL, AEW, and it's Arena Mexico. Just because that's like the highest I can shoot for in the stars. Like that's probably the best possible thing.
And then next year, John, the World Elite Cup.
Stop playing with me. We can get it. We can get it. We really
if TNA could do it, if TNA could do it, AEW could do it.
Hey, look at all the promotions that they be working with.
I'm saying.
I saw the Super X Cup. I remember that shit.
I'm so down.
Also, the World Elite Cup actually just sounds cool. We need to trade doc that shit now.
Doesn't it?
Okay, that is really cool.
So
you can maximize so many different uses.
You can buy it off me, Tony, but I'm trademarking it.
I mentioned a couple of these things earlier on the Dynamite show, but one of the interesting aspects of this particular partnership is that I don't know much about CMLL, and I am fine. I know enough. Like, I'm not like a fucking baby, but I don't know the guys. Like, I haven't seen many matches. I don't know who exactly to look forward to or what's happening, like the way I do when they partner with New Japan and they partner with even AAA. I know I've seen AAA shows. I've watched a couple Triple Manias. It's more than CMLL at least. So this is an interesting position I'm in where I've always wondered, like, man, what is it like for somebody who doesn't know what's going on? I wonder what it's like for somebody who doesn't know as much as what I know. Well, I am that guy. So I do. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go online and I'll look up some matches, and I want to see some Volador Jr. matches. And
You'll like Volador Jr. He's also kind of a superhero nerd, so you'll see a lot of outfits.
they tell me he's a fucking beast. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing
that he both looks and acts like an actual Bret Hart clone.
I'm so down. That's so fucking
A very
perfect.
flippy Bret Hart clone.
Exactly.
And like you'll see him. At least when I was watching him, like you'll see him and he'll have the full body like Iron Man outfit. He's that kind of guy.
That's great. That's so great. I'm really excited to see that not only are they just coming up to AEW, this is a whole storyline we just kicked off. It's not just like the wrestlers are showing up and sometimes Vikingo defends the title, sometimes he doesn't, which is fine with me. I actually like that they showcase Lucha in a serious fashion because I didn't like it for so long, and now they have these different.
Funny because I know some of them are about to go to Japan this month.
That's right, because of the Fantastic Mania tour.
Yep.
So I am hoping that New Japan will still be involved in Forbidden Door, because it would not be weird or far-fetched for it to be AEW, CMLL, and New Japan, because New Japan and CMLL have been partners
triangle
for a long time, and it's a perfectly fine triangle. Like, it's not forcing anything; they all exist together already.
I just sent you one, by the way.
Oh shit! He's got the PS5 Spider-Man outfit on.
Yeah,
he got a big ass. He got a big ass head. No.
Oh no!
That's your fucking
Volador. No.
Oh, shit,
bruh. I'm a bald man, and I can tell you that is also soon to be a bald.
He's
man.
on his way, isn't he?
He's gonna join us.
No, Volador, run!
He'll be joining us soon enough.
Is this Volador Jr.? Oh my god! I hope it is, but I'm going to say
I hope it is racist.
This feels like such a move, like overall.
No, because this one has a mask on, so I can't see his face.
All Mexicans are not Volador Jr. Okay, great.
He has a mask on.
Oh, it's Captain America outfit you're talking about?
Yes.
I hope it is him. There's literally no way to tell.
That's what I'm saying, you jerk.
Take the mask off. Unmask him now. One of the things I wanted to say on here too, though, is like this feels like such a Rocky Romero move because of his involvement with them, and like look at Romero and Mystico.
And Rocky Romero's role in pro wrestling has gone greatly understated.
Oh yeah,
I don't think people
realize. One of the most integral people right now.
Yeah, because you're talking about a deck like. We figured out earlier that AEW has to still be in partnership with AAA too, because AAA wrestlers have just been on there just last week. So
Vikingo has the title,
and Rocky Romero somehow figured out how to make it so that AEW can work with both AAA and CMLL.
McDevitt, stop you!
He's trying to get me again.
Yeah, Rocky Romero has basically.
Rocky's gonna have to go.
Rocky Romero has basically found a way for you to hang out with your girlfriend and that ex you don't like.
And we can all smile together if we don't hold hands at the same time.
We can all sit at the same lunch table.
It's really cool. It's a great moment in wrestling history. And I laugh when people are like, bro, this is going to raise the ratings. I'm like, suck my dick, bro. This is the coolest fucking shit. Like,
same people that said like they rely too much on WWE talents.
It's never gonna be, you're never gonna win with them. But
I know people who do it, and it's just one of those things where, like, as a wrestling fan, I find it weird to spend so much time thinking about the idea of just like, well, is AEW turning a profit? I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Nobody knows.
Most sports teams don't. Like the majority of baseball teams, especially dynasties, do not run on a profit.
But bro,
if you're the Yankees, you definitely ain't making any profit.
Like,
I
they
think
run in
if
such
you-
different ways.
I think if you care genuinely about the company, then thinking about these things and not using it as like some kind of weapon or gotcha, then it's fine. There are ways to keep up with it, to think about it, and to have conversations about things like ratings and finances and spending and things like that. I think there are
I mean,
conversations to be had, right?
I think me and you and Nick had a genuine conversation about the attendance issues last week.
We did, but that's not gonna get ignored because we're shills. We don't
Oh, you
We
guys
hate-
all defend AEW.
hate WWE. How could you? Like, all I did was say Dynamite was good. You hate WWE. Oh shit! You fuck. So I'm yeah.
And,
I'm ex-
and like, and if it doesn't help enough, like as far as JSRC is concerned, like none of us here want to hate WWE.
You think I wanted to hate it while I watched it for 2 fucking decades and they beat the shit out of me with garbage? You think I wanted that? No.
I watched every Royal Rumble leading up to this one recently.
I'm still here. I'm still watching the show. I just went to travel to the Royal Rumble.
Could you tell a bad one from a good one?
A Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yes,
say Nick
absolutely.
because he said he just watched them all.
You
Fucking
can definitely tell
2022.
when Pat Patterson was passed away. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. That's actually.
Well,
a big-
yeah. I guess the Pat is still the one who knew how to book the thing, and he came up with it.
Exactly. Oh, I see. A good Royal Rumble are the ones that have interwoven storytelling. There's so many different things and references throughout it. Like the last great Royal Rumble was 2020 for the men.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's the one with Brock. That's the Drew one, right?
Yeah,
Brock dominates the
Where
beginning
Brock
of it.
owns for like a whole quarter.
Yes.
it was
They
Brock
booked the
thing.
shit out of it. He owned it for half. He owned it
I
for
re-
half the
I
match.
remember in We Love Pro Wrestling, John, you would always talk about your dream Rumble of Brock Lesnar just one by one eliminating everyone and everyone. And I remember when that was happening, I was like, "Oh, John's going to be happy about this."
Did you see? You could have heard me from across the country just losing it because not only did I get that, they booked it perfectly. Because then the guy who eventually does get rid of Brock is the winner because because only the winner could have been the person to get rid of the dude who was fucking throwing news out for half the match.
So what I remember about that mostly, other than like, yeah, Brock owns it for like half the Rumble, and like the amusing, what I do think is somewhat of an amusing gif of just like him and Shelton being buddies because they were boys, and then him just German suplexing the fuck out of him.
Oh, that was my one critique. Is like imagine the world where Brock and Shelton teamed up against because like all the New Day guys came in at that point. So just imagine that like as a duo. That would have been great.
Just a couple minutes.
You think they did?
Yeah,
two
exactly.
paths, basically.
If they did that moment, that would have been great because then it shows too.
You wanted the Minnesota Wrecking Crew.
I absolutely did. Like them up against like New Day and Mysterio would have been fun, and then Brock can turn on and betray Shelton.
Yeah. I get it. My thing about that also is like I have an obsession with the clip of the Claymore. It is the most perfect pinpoint boot to the center of the forehead that I have ever seen.
And
It
then
is art.
Brock sells
And
so
Brock just
fucking.
flies over the
Oh my god, he's a maniac too. Like he takes that bump like a maniac.
like a
He just-
fucking 150 pounder.
Like if he doesn't give a
yeah.
fuck about his neck, I don't care.
And it was a perfect thing too, because like you'd think after that, these guys want to kill each other. Like they're staring legitimate daggers at one another. Like you could feel the intensity from that. That was amazing. And then Ricochet just gets launched
It's
over the
just
top.
perfect. It was perfect, and we lost out on a fucking payoff thanks to COVID. But
That was the final Pat Patterson Rumble.
yeah, it was. Was it?
I believe so, yeah.
No fucking way.
Because I think Pat Patterson then died later that year.
Holy shit! No wonder that was the last good Rumble.
Yeah, that was the last Patterson Rumble.
Holy shit, that's painful because literally every Rumble since then, none of them has touched that.
They've sucked so much compared to that.
That hurts because that kind of says we'll never reach that height again. So at least he went out giving me my Rumble that I always wanted.
It was like literally the tale of two Rumbles because then McIntyre goes on a dominating spree. Then we had the return of Edge.
Yep. That's one of the greatest Rumble moments of all time.
I really liked the Rumbles from last year.
The you know what these Rumbles have now? Very good finishing stretches.
Fair.
That's what they have. Like the women's one last year, I loved the finishing stretch. The final.
I mean, come on, John. Can you imagine how happy I was watching Rhea go from number 1?
That's what I'm saying. It's great. It was a
I
great
was
story, and
in
it's
the
great to
whole
talk
thing.
about. But I also feel like there's a fuck ton of filler now.
It is,
in
and like
these.
the Rhea run was great, but then when you saw everything else beyond that, it just didn't hit.
You know what Pat used to do? He used to book it. He used to do the Rumble in segments. Like it wasn't filler. It was like, you think back to the CM Punk, the Nexus Core one. There was the year the Nexus Core
I
took
thought
up
you
like
were
the
gonna
first.
talk about the sermon one.
That was the sermon one. So I was going to talk about that one next,
too.
because this was the way he used to do things. You had the first third, where it was either the Nexus Core or it was CM Punk doing sermons, and then you had the middle part, and there would be whatever was going on there, and then you had the finishing stretch.
Al McDevitt.
I'll be the first to admit
God
that
fucking damn it.
I'll be the first to
I
admit
was
that I
just gonna
don't
say
like.
it kept your attention and kept you occupied.
I
the
should
whole
I should
time, the
I
whole-
should rewatch them then, because I'll be the first to admit I don't remember the structures of a lot of them. I remember moments. Like I remember it being etched into my brain because Child Greg was just over the moon when it happened. I remember the guitar lick and Austin's head coming up. Just like, oh no, it's Brett.
I don't know when I
I love that moment so much, and since I was the Brett mark, I was like, oh, Austin's gonna get it.
Let me tell you, one of my favorite Royal Rumbles will always be the 2001 Rumble. And when you talk about segments, that one's got a million different segments. You had, Hardy versus Hardy. You had Drew Carey. You had Kane's domination through the hardcore portion. Then you had The Rock and Kane, and then The Rock standing up. You had the little Big Show return. You had domination, Brothers of Destruction killing everyone.
The
and the
hardcore
finale.
Rumble was a choice, man.
I enjoyed that little moment because he had like the right guys for it, I feel. Like he had
Kane
Saturn,
was
he had Raven, El
walloping
Snow,
motherfuckers.
and then Kane, because that was true. If you think about it, like the introduction for Kane in that hardcore division.
I am partial to the 2004. It's just such a weird work rate Royal Rumble. Like it stands out in a weird way. I watched it again over the weekend with the other guys when we were out. And that's the Chris Benoit Rumble.
Oh, okay.
It's like they were
the longest
so
headlock you've ever seen.
The final, right? He gets
The
pitched over.
headlock of him dragging.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it came after like Big Show had dominated the whole final third of the Rumble too. Like he showed himself to be a monster that couldn't be stopped by even 10 people. He still gets taken out by this baby fucking Wolverine.
Just like
that Rumble interests me because it's like it's all steak. Like it's no sizzle. Like we're not playing. Like we didn't come here to play. There's no like fancy. There's no surprises. Only Ernest the Cat Miller, so that people can have 30 seconds to just breathe for a second. Because
including Orton and Benoit.
Yeah, Orton comes in at number 2. Benoit comes in at number 1, or they both last for almost the whole thing until Mick Foley comes out and he tries to kill.
30
Randy.
seconds to breathe. I'm reminded of like that one clip where CM Punk is just like smiling out of his mind because he's watching fucking Piper and Flair go at it.
What's that? 2008?
2008. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird. That was a weird part of it. But
it
then that's
was,
another. That was one of the segments. That was exactly the
Piper
moment.
And
Snuka, yes, that's what I'm saying.
The whole second third of that Royal Rumble, all of a sudden, old people start coming out randomly, and they start having these little moments together.
MSG legends.
Yeah, it was fucking great. That's exactly what I mean by the segments, Greg. If you
Punk's
can remember
like trying
that
to
shit.
hit the other guy, just like, dude, it's fucking Piper and Snuka.
I feel like I noticed it back then too. It wasn't like an advanced wrestling knowledge thing I figured out later. Like, yeah, Pat Patterson books the Royal Rumble in segments. It was just when I was a kid, I would notice like, wow, this match is a really different match than it was. Like when it started. Like, this is really cool. It feels like I'm watching a whole other thing. And it isn't that anymore. Nowadays, you get a moment, you get filler. You get a moment,
you get filler. You get a moment, you get filler, you get the finishing stretch.
You want to know about a Rumble that had
some convoluted, potentially dangerous spots?
You want to know a Rumble that had way too many segments thanks to a certain head writer? 1999.
Ooh, that's on. That's you get the bathroom, the bathroom with Austin. He gets jumped and dies up there.
Bear in mind at that point too, like the audience that is watching doesn't see anyone in the ring until Droz walks his way out, and you got Droz who has to sit alone in the ring while all that stuff's happening that you're not seeing.
I've never seen that one.
That's the Vince McMahon Rumble. You probably never will see it again. No.
Oh no!
Take it off Peacock.
It's gone from Peacock for some reason.
God, Stevie Richards has been on a roll winning all these Rumbles lately.
Oh man. Yeah, I know. I've never seen that one. We didn't have cable at the time that was live, so yeah, that was
reaction of the night going to Golga.
Oh my god!
I remember hearing about it. It's Austin and Vince just. Vince just gets his ass beat throughout the entire arena, only for Austin to slip on the banana peel, so to speak, at the end, right?
Pretty much.
They
basically they set it up in a way that it looked like Austin had to win, and then Vince wins. And he's like, "This is disgusting."
Rock snuck up from behind.
Fuck.
And then Vince gives it up, and then Shawn is like, "You don't know how the rules of your own shit works."
So, I mean, that's us.
And then Austin agrees to give up his right if he gets to beat Vince up.
That's such a weird. They got to WrestleMania in such a weird way that year.
I remember the segments of that storyline.
That was the thing with WWF in that era and like the years prior was they were all about generating the moments more so than a lot of cohesion.
Yeah, so I remember Shawn says because you waved it, the last guy gets it, which means that was Austin. And then Austin's like, I'll give up my right to fight at WrestleMania if I get to face you. And then they have the cage match, and then McMahon gets spined on the table. Spined. That's still big. Oh god, that bump makes me sick to this day.
Really a big show.
We got Paul White. You know what I'm talking about?
That's Paul White. That's Paul White.
Fucking hell, god damn it. I just want to talk Jerry McDevitt. Let me speak.
That was a time.
Legal team.
I didn't know. I don't know why. Maybe I did know and I've fucking smoked the memory away. But possibly I forgot that Mick Foley just 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks after he faces Randy Orton in the hardcore match at Backlash, he goes on to challenge Kawada for the Triple Crown title at a Hustle event.
Yes.
I have to watch that because it's so weird seeing 2004.
Kawada was not a fan of.
Legend Foley.
Was he not? I don't know the story.
The Kawada was just not a fan of a lot of things at that time, and he was like, I think Kawada just didn't really have the respect for Foley that most people did.
Oh fuck! I lost. I didn't hear a damn thing you said.
Devin's getting too silly.
I was saying I think Kawada was just upset about a lot of things at that time, and I don't believe that Kawada had the respect for Mick Foley that a lot of people did, because he's just this American garbage wrestler.
That's probably not the way to think about Mick Foley. He had Japanese experience. Other people
as a Japanese deathmatch wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably not the most endearing thing.
Exactly. He used what type of explosive?
He doesn't even have a fucking ear.
He lost his ear. He got power bombed through what glass?
In case you did not have it, I did send you a link.
Barbed wire matches.
You're welcome.
Tommy, that's Dirt Sheet Radio, baby. For the week of January 31st. It's February 1st. We made it through.
We're almost there. It's been an episode. Oh, Jerry McDevitt.
Hey, Bayley.
Ooh, I wanna know.
Will you be my
girl? We
those are
lost
good
John
times.
again.
Am
I
I
assume.
back?
I think you're
Oh,
back.
great.
It's a time to
It's
send it
time to
my
go
way,
to
John. Well, I have an announcement
Absolutely.
to make. So, for those of you who are aware, my brother Tony runs the Cold Case Project, and I contribute to that. Well, currently there are plans for this to be going on a indefinite hiatus in the very near future. There's, I think, still a backlog of content if it hasn't already been posted. So go check that out. It's a lot of still like 1 hour, 2 hour long videos. Most of the most recent ones are Ohio missing person mysteries and Louisiana missing person mysteries. So a lot of different quality content on there. So if you're into true crime, disappearances, murders, cold cases, go check out the Cold Case Project. And hey, if you're feeling like getting a little silly instead of grim, if you don't want that gore, make sure you go to monk.com, monq.com, use promo code DSR10, get 10% off your purchase of whatever Monk products that you want. Greg, how's Major Issues looking?
Major Issues is looking good. I believe, due to an errant upload, even though thank you for John to confirm that for me now, that Major Issues next episode will be concentrating on the Hulk versus series. I assume they're doing both movies and other stuff.
Hulk versus, because it's the 15th anniversary of it, and
Is it?
Deadpool. Yeah, it is. It's fucking old. And the Deadpool Wolverine movie is coming.
Okay, that works. I like I said, I think I'm aware of 2 Hulk versus movies.
Well, it's the Hulk versus is one video release with 2 short films in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Thor film and a Hulk, but like an adaptation of the first appearance of Wolverine. They fight the
Okay,
Wendigo.
so it's Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor, but those were actually one movie.
Yes.
Understood.
Yeah. People claim it takes place in the same continuity as Wolverine and the X-Men. I have to. I don't know how to disprove that because it had the same voice actor, has the same designs, and there's not enough of a world being built to disprove
That is the same universe.
That is the same universe. So you wouldn't be wrong, and it wouldn't break anything if you just attached that to the show and kept it that way for yourself in your head.
Does it make it more interesting for you?
It always makes it more interesting for me, something like that.
Okay.
The idea that this character actually has an old
I asked
origin.
for you because I didn't watch Evolution.
No, not Evolution. Wolverine and the X-Men.
I didn't watch that one either.
Damn, you didn't watch anything good. That's cool. Sweet.
I watched the X-Men.
That's nice. That was nice. So the other 2 shows are arguably even better. Just because they were able to exist in a world after that and had influence from things like that. Particularly Wolverine and the X-Men, who was a sea of dead potential. They set up so many great things.
No, now you just made it depressing.
It's very sad. Well, at least Evolution made it all the way until its finale. But yes, that is us.
Are you also covering? Are there comics to cover there too, or no?
There could be if they wanted to. They should read Hulk 180 and 181. But that is up to them. And
I thought there might have been a series of books called Hulk versus.
No. Hulk versus Wolverine. There's probably 2 major fights you can always think of. There's the first one where Wolverine first appears in comics, where Hulk is fighting the fucking Wendigo, and then Wolverine jumps in, and then they have the fight. And then they have the Ultimate Universe version, where that's that famous image of Hulk ripping Wolverine into 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if it was me, I would read those. But it is not my show, and I do not. I would not be able to run another show if I fucking had to do it, or I would die.
You've tried.
I tried.
You have tried.
Literally, we're putting out like 30 shows, 20 shows a month now. What the fuck?
You went from 120, you fucking madman.
5 shows a week. And I was doing those shows while I was at the Rumble. I was guiding my son. I was posting news. This damn thing doesn't end. This is hard work.
I saw you log on as like director when the Royal Rumble review show went off. I was like, you are there right now, you son of a bitch.
Stop that.
It never ends.
Stop working.
No, the fucking it never ends, unfortunately, and they don't pay you. Nobody pays you.
No, they don't.
As it turns out, you have to figure out how to pay yourself.
Yeah, I need money.
I like money.
Help me.
That's us, though, man. Check out this out. Check out the Delphin Pod podcasts. They are on Google. Google Delphin Pod, and it'll come. It'll take you to all the right places. Countdown to Infinity. Countdown to Skywalker. Fucking the award show recaps. It's award season in film. The Oscars are coming. The did the Emmys happen already? The Emmys happened already, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I've kept up this year. I know.
All I know about the Emmys is that
I watched those. I watched those. Actually, they did happen because Beef and the Bear took all the awards.
Yes,
I saw that.
They did.
Yes, I do.
People were really upset about Beef. People we know anyway.
They're fucking racists. They just hate, they just hate to see Asian people happy. Like, oh my god, get the fuck out of here. Let them have it. I'm sure Beef is good. I haven't seen it. I can't vouch for it.
I haven't either.
I can vouch for the Bear. Not a comedy. But yeah, man, check them out.
The only way we could win.
Yeah, technicalities. You know how that go. Check out the Delphin Pod shows.
I'm still trying to learn about how that stuff works because I think it has something to do with how you submit, not what it is.
It's the category is musical, comedy and musical, right?
Right.
And you can't just submit a straight up drama and say it's a comedy for the sake of it.
Apparently, it looks like you can.
You feel that way, right? But the way they frame it is like this is actually a dark comedy.
That's what they said about the Bear.
Right? That's what they do. It's a dark comedy.
A dark comedy.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, when the fuck did I laugh? I was crying. Is that what dark comedy is? It makes you cry. But no, yeah, I digress. That's Thirsty Radio for the week, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Later.
Peace.
Oh, there we go.
Woohoo.
I found it.
Thank you.
We can't go home until this thing comes up.
We'll never go home.